Give me a second, Buck.
Yeah.
Nick, good morning.
PD, what's up, man? How's everybody this morning?
Good, Nick. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Happy Wednesday to all.
You too.
Yeah, man.
League year starts today.
That's exciting. That's good stuff. I like hearing that. That's cool. Today is a great day to extend Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner.
I think you can officially do that today, too.
Get it done within the hour. Both of them.
I'd love to see that tweet or it's wrong by Schefter.
I'm going to Nashville tomorrow. I'm excited.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm going for 4 days. We're going, the SEC basketball tournament is in Nashville.
Oh, that's right. The NCAA start soon.
Yeah, there was a couple games last night that were pretty good.
Mark, good morning. June, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Mark, did you switch over? There you are. I know it takes a while. Just like,
there we go.
all right, good.
Good morning.
All right. It takes a while, just like it's taking you a while to warm up to these new jet moves.
Pete, can I say something, please?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've been hearing folks say, look, I could paint a real rosy picture of what the Justin Fields experience is going to look like. Maybe Tanner Engstrand is the next Kevin O'Connell, or the next, I forget who Baker's OC was when he turned things around. Maybe that's who Tanner is. And Kay Adams, who I adore, says, oh, that's what he can be, maybe the next Sam, the next Baker. We've got folks that are touting his 4-2 play with the Steelers and are using wins as a quarterback stat, mind you. Same folks, by the way, who can't stop saying that they only won 5 games with Rodgers. So wins are a quarterback stat for some folks. If you hear someone say that in this room, I want you to keep this statistic in mind. When opposing teams score more than 20 points, what is Justin Fields' record? 0-22. And what'll happen is they'll say, oh, but Mark, the context. It was with Chicago. It was with the Steelers, with a defensive-minded head coach. Wins are either a quarterback stat or they're not. So if you hear someone say 4-2, just please keep in mind what I just told you about Baker about Justin Fields when they score more than 20 points. 0-22. You know who's got a better record? I looked it up. I couldn't even find this online. You know who's got a better record?
Zach Wilson?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
2-14. Mark, you know what, man? I'm going to shut up because lately, man, I don't know it's funny, but it's really not. You're off the rocker on this.
It's scary. It's
I just
scary.
gave you the
It's
data.
really scary.
Okay. I know. Facts are scary sometimes. But and narratives are nice. They make you feel warm and fuzzy at night. But listen, man, if we fast forward to week 16, can you imagine the meltdown if it's week 16 and the Zach Wilson-led Dolphins beat the Jets with Justin Fields? It'll be disgusting, dude. The meltdowns will be disgusting.
But Mark, why is it? Hold on 1 second.
I got a question for Mark.
You go first.
When's the quarterback stat for you or no?
What's Salah's record when a team scores over 20 points, Mark?
You got to let people finish, too, today, Mark, for real. I know people have been cutting me off and you off, but lately, Mark, I'm not even kidding. I'm laughing about this, but I can't even get a point across with you neither. It's really hard. And Mark, I will admit this in front of people here. You're frustrating me with this. Okay.
Well, sorry, man.
Mark, what's Salah's record when a team scores over 20 points? That's your guy the season went to peril. I got to know how you feel about Salah's record when the team scores over 20.
That's a good question.
Is it 0-50?
What up, PD? Can you hear me?
I put in the work, and I pulled up the numbers. Why don't you put in the work and go bring me the numbers, and we'll talk about it.
Listen, guys, he has talent as an athlete.
Yes,
but
he
man,
does.
he's really not the best quarterback, man. The OC is gonna really have to put a good scheme around him so he could be successful, and just use his athletic traits to help win.
Yeah,
But like as
nobody's
a quarterback,
Showtime. Nobody's arguing.
whew,
Listen, I'm excited. Listen, everybody's expecting. I'm just expecting to compete, and if they're bad, it's the Jets. What am I going to do? I'm still going to go to the games and root for them.
oh,
So
I'm not
that's
talking about
my
the team
stance.
overall though. I'm just talking about the quarterback, like him. Like I mean, the team could still be competitive and him not be impressive, But it's just him as a quarterback. I think you guys could have just drafted a guy if you're gonna go Jalen. I mean, Justin Fields. I don't know, man.
Who's to say that the Jets still don't draft anybody? I mean,
No, you could,
Yeah,
but
and
I'm just saying
who
that money could have went somewhere else.
now,
You
Mark?
don't gotta spend all your money all the time. You can
All
still
right,
carry
but
over
what?
to the
right.
next season.
Okay, do people criticize Justin Fields still? I mean, Justin Fields, Jalen Mills, by the way he throws.
They don't criticize Justin Fields anymore because nobody thinks he can be anything. You get
Right.
criticism when people have expectations of you.
What if for once it works out with the Jets? For once, I don't think it
I
will. I
mean,
don't know if it will. What if it does though? Then the
it,
Jets
it,
found their guy and they got a diamond in the rough. Look,
you have an
Minnesota didn't
amazing
believe.
offensive staff. You
Well,
guys
then
did something
Minnesota.
nobody else could do.
Yeah, but Minnesota didn't believe in Darnold. Look at what he did. They went 15-2, and they still
Yeah,
moved,
but
or 14 and
Dar-
three.
but Darnold, the reason he got drafted so high because of his potential. He did have high potential. Whether why it didn't work out is for whatever reason, but like Sam Darnold's a better prospect quarterback wise coming out in the draft. So,
Mark, I got to ask you something, man. What is this fixed on? What was your plan, Mark?
Pete, the reason why I'm laying all this stuff out, and I'm going to do it as dispassionately as possible this morning, okay, is because I want the Jets to play winning football. And some folks don't care about winning. And that's fine because they're taking for 26.
But
I
I
think that
care
if they
about
lose a
winning,
bunch
Mark.
this year,
I
well, then
care
you should
about
be
winning.
agreeing with me more, Pete.
Yeah, but guys, they're
That's
not going to
the,
win this year.
well, there you go.
I care about winning. So
I
you
mean, you
think
got a
they
new
have no
coach and a new
chance?
GM in the door. Nobody expects them to win. I mean, I don't even
All
think
right.
I mean, they're not going to say that publicly, but they got a free pass this year.
How much
Mark, man.
culture can you build when all you
So
do is lose?
Mark,
Well,
so this was a bad move, Mark? Hold on 1 second. So this was a bad move by them?
I think that this was a move they had to make. I don't think it's a
Okay.
move that they want. They said from the podium that they want to win now and win from now on. Not they didn't say we want to win eventually. And this is a move where they're saying, I don't know if they really want to. I don't know
now
if
what
they
move are
can
you
win
even
with
I
five
got
referring
I got to
wins.
to?
step in here. Excuse me. I'm sorry because I got to call cap on Mark here, man. What are they supposed to say? Are they supposed to stand at the podium and say, "Well, we got to clean up the mess from that the last regime sent us"? No, of course not.
I'll
They're
respond.
gonna give Coach yes because he did. Oh,
All right.
the Joe Douglas and that regime. You had a lot of cleaning up to do. The cupboard is barren on defense. Why? Because every contract was a 1 year deal that expired and had void contracts and this and that. So whether you're not and I'm not the biggest Justin Fields fan, I'm not gonna even entertain that thing. But like we got to come on. We can't pick and choose like how to interpret something to suit our narrative. Well, they said they're going to win, so that means they're going to win. No, what they said was exactly what you have to say at the podium. We got to
I mean, who was a better
this
option? Who was
conversation.
a better
Let me say
realistic
something,
option
please.
than Fields?
What's that?
What you can say, what you can say. First of all, I gave you numbers and not narrative, Tom. And the second thing is what they can say from the podium when you know you're going to be in a rebuilding mode or you know you need to retool is you can be honest and say, listen, it's going to be a process. It's going to take us some time to get things sorted out, but we believe in our vision and we're going to be drafting talent. We're going to change how we do things here. We're going to build through the
That's
draft.
they
That's what
in
they
a
could have said from
nutshell.
the
They,
podium.
they did say that, Mark. In a nutshell,
Then
they
why
say
did they
that.
say win now?
What's that?
Then why did they say win now and from now on?
Well,
Win now.
What are they supposed to
To,
say?
to
this
give
is
to give
I
you a
just
this.
to
told you
give
what they're
you a
supposed to
narrative,
say.
Mark. That's why
Thanks.
it was to give you a narrative.
Well, if you lapped it up, I'm just telling you I did. I'm just
I
telling you. I'm trying to
Mark,
put the. if he's
Mark,
just
let me
there.
just all right
Mark,
before
uh,
one sec before I'll be quick. Mark, to be fair, I've destroyed June on some of his gloom, doom and gloom, doom and gloom. But Mark, this I'm speechless. I mean, Buckeye too. Like I hear it. Like it's
I'm
frustrating.
appalled.
Like you're
I'm
not even
appalled at
open
this
to
shit.
to what they did. Like
I don't know what
June,
happened to him.
it
hey, it's okay. It's okay, guys. I mean, I agree with Mark on Justin Fields, but I felt it was the right thing to do. But I never bought into this narrative that some of you guys had that, that we were going to go and win 7, 8, 9 games this year, and,
Exactly,
and the and the
Terrence.
34th and the 34th team. Most of us were saying that. I mean, but we do, but yeah, I mean, because he said something at the podium, I don't know what that means. Like, I mean, there are ways to show improvement that may not be indicative of the record. And but for right now, for these 2 years or 3 years that Justin Fields might be here, we got the one guy that was in the free agent market that didn't play for the Jets already and was never coming here again, Sam Darnold, that was available, that had potential upside, that he could be better than maybe what he's shown in the past, and we'll see. But again, we only had 3 draft picks. There's nobody at 7 that we're going to draft at quarterback this year. Otherwise, that's what we would be talking about right now. So, for right now, let's build the team as best as we can, and we keep building over the next couple of years. And that was it. Thank you.
yeah. I mean, Mark, I'll get to the hands. I was set on Taylor starting. Now there's competition.
But
Good.
Petey,
Yeah,
he
but
didn't
Pete, you
Let's
know
answer your
keep
he's going to
building.
get
question.
injured.
Petey, he didn't answer your question.
Who?
You asked Mark what option did he want. He didn't answer you.
He wanted
Well, he wanted
no,
Rodgers.
no, no. Even after
No, no,
Rodgers,
no. Let him answer. Don't answer. Like,
he wanted Sam
Mark, who did
Darnold.
you want?
Mark, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. My answer for this is that if they decided to move forward with Rodgers, I was all right with it. If they decided to move on from Rodgers, I was all right with it because I think every front office, I think every head coach has the right to determine who their quarterback's going to be. Um,
Yeah, okay,
He
that's
didn't
fair.
answer
moving,
it yet,
And Mark,
Petey. He
that
didn't
stat.
answer it
Wait,
yet.
Wait. All right, yeah, but wait, Mark, that
he did
stat you brought
answer
up.
it.
This no. Let
yeah, they don't
Mark.
have no
That
answers
stat
for
you
that
brought
stat,
off
dude.
is interesting.
It's yeah, it's the
That
truth.
stat is very It's 0 and 22.
Justin Fields, when opposing team, see, this is where I'll get interrupted and folks don't want to hear it. Look, I'm just looking at, I watch the games and I'm watching his play. And by the way, you're going to see content creators and other folks pick out specific plays and post them to give Jet fans hope. I'm watching all of the games and seeing stuff. I'm here to tell you that what I'm seeing them post, these are outlier plays. Like a lot of what his play is it's a lot of Arthur Smith. I know, June, you don't like Arthur Smith. Like I give Arthur Smith a lot of credit for working with Justin Fields to
Oh
try to
my
do something
God,
different. Go watch the games.
So, Mark, you're focused
Mark, he
on what Aaron Glenn
stinks.
said at the presser. Who was your choice so that Aaron Glenn's presser felt genuine? What quarterback did you want that you felt Aaron Glenn wasn't lying when he said, we're going to win now and win forever? Who was the quarterback?
The guy who led the AFC in touchdown passes.
There you go, Grant. I
Boom.
want Mark to answer the question. Connect Aaron Glenn's presser to the quarterback option for this year. Who was it?
I
Dancing
mean,
Mark.
it could have been a lot of people. I mean, they didn't have a lot of good choices, to
Right.
be
So
honest
who?
with you.
So who
They
did
could
you
have brought a
put?
Kirk for a year for one
June,
to go
I
to.
need him to answer this question. Let him
He
go.
won't.
All I've been doing is answering. You just don't like the answers, man.
You didn't. You didn't
And I
say
can't help
nothing.
you. What I said, they
They're
could have brought in.
half-ass answers, Mark.
All right. Well, let's
All
keep
right.
this on Mark.
I'm not being
Let's
mean. I'm
no.
just
I'm
being
not.
yeah.
No, this
That's
has
a
not.
fact.
This is not. No, this has nothing. Giambi, I wasn't doing that towards you. Mark, all right, guys, Buckeye, especially you, because you've been bad with interrupt. It's funny, but it's not because Buckeye's been interrupting Mark, and I can't even get points across, and it's my own space. Like Mark too. Like, but Mark, if you have the answer, you got to be quick. because you always ask the question with a question, and I understand
Deflections.
there's
It's
context,
deflect.
Mark, but who did you want? Pause.
They could have brought Rodgers back. There was a road for that.
Okay.
There was a road for them bringing in Kirk Cousins. Honestly,
Well,
Wait.
I wish that
all right.
Sam
I'm not
Darnold. Well, see
interrupting.
now they're interrupting.
You're
See
right.
the
I'm gonna
bullshit.
stop because I'm.
There was a route because people don't like they basically are waiting like with
No,
fucking bated breath
no,
to like jump all over my
no,
answer. It's
no,
like it's getting tiresome.
no,
Because
Mark.
look, it could have been it could have been there could have been a. I wish that Sam Darnold hadn't been a Jet because if he had not been a Jet, I think we all would have been like, look at what he did in his last year with Minnesota. Is his trajectory moving up? Let's take a flyer on that in the West Coast scheme rather than a guy who, like, it's a lot of pistol. This is what I'm seeing in Justin Fields tape. Justin Fields tape. It's a lot of pistol. It's a lot of I form. It's a lot of zone read and read option, and a lot of off schedule. And it's clear he's not seeing what's happening in downfield concepts. Like any team that could take advantage of those tendencies, it's going to be very tough for the Jets to score points. Like they didn't score a passing touchdown until like week 2 last year. And I'm watching the Steelers defense and Boswell, who was the best kicker in football last year. Like that's and Tomlin, who like kept it all together. Like that's how they were winning games through the first 6. But then people will tell you, but Fields went 4-2, and I'm like,
And we lost
what the
games because
fuck
of
are we
Wait,
Greg's
talking
red
wait,
line.
wait,
about?
wait, 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 Pete. How how could we get Kirk Cousins when he's still in Atlanta
That's what I'm
Falcons roster?
saying. I was gonna.
Forget all that.
I didn't want to interrupt him.
Oh,
Forget all that. So
anchovies in the
Sam
room.
Darnold, Kirk Cousins, and Aaron Rodgers would have made you feel that Aaron Glenn's presser was genuine, that we're going to win now because we have one of those three guys, that we're going to be a winning football team if we had one
I
of
can
those
tell
three
from your
guys, right,
tone
Mark?
that you disagree with that, but the
It'd be
answer is:
closer
are
to
any of those quarterbacks better than Justin Fields?
I don't know.
You
I don't
can't
know if
answer
Aaron
that,
Rodgers
can you?
is better.
Rodgers,
To be
come
honest,
on, Buckeye. Rodgers
Buckeye
is better
Rogers
than
is better than
Fields.
Fields. That's
uh,
nonsense.
which team is rushing to sign Aaron Rodgers right now? He's begging teams right now.
isn't he?
That's not the question.
It's not about
I don't think
Been
performance though,
anymore. I
released
think
yet?
he has
Buckeye.
his pick of the litter.
It's not about performance. It's that they know that but you get Rodgers, you got to build the offense that he wants around it, and
But
It's a
Terrence,
this
it's
lot of
Kirk
more
shit
than
that
that.
Cousins
come with
looks
It's
him.
like
more
that.
than that,
That's
right?
not the
Yeah,
The
question.
it's
Aaron Glenn decision was he's a leader. He's a leader of men. You know what the problem was? You're not allowed to do any of that with Aaron Rodgers. So
That's
the
Well,
not the
yeah,
whole
question
premise
either.
of this year,
well, that train left the station already. It's just, I mean, the thing about well, I wish Darnold wasn't a Jet before. I mean, let's forget about the hypothetical. Like he was never coming here, so we should just not even
yeah.
include
But
that
let's see what he
in
even
the
does in
equation.
Seattle. Let's see if Sam
Well,
Darnold
look
reverts back to
what
Trying
they
to
Sam
did.
Darnold.
assassinate Sam
But look,
Darnold?
look,
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
look what's going on, Mark. They got rid of 2 of their wide receivers. They only got Jackson Smith-Njigba now. They don't have a great offensive line. They do
Is
got
Darnold
draft
better than
capital.
Fields there?
But again, Mark, you keep bringing it up. But he played for the Jets for 3 years. You can't wipe that away. Okay, forget about the hypotheticals, man. Okay, that's not an answer. That's the problem because you keep dancing around it. You don't want to answer it. Answer it in realistic terms, man.
He's in contempt of court, Terrence.
The answer I asked is Darnold better than Fields? And Terrence
Yes,
gave me
yes, yes,
Darnold's
yes,
first 3. That's all I'm
yes.
asking.
That's but
That's all,
yes,
that's
he
my only
is.
point.
But yes, and also to your hypothetical from last week, if he didn't play for the Jets, he would have been somebody we'd be clamoring to try to sign now. But again, that's why I don't waste my time. I mean, I guess it's a 2-hour show. I don't waste my time on those
I feel
things.
like this is a town hall political debate, answer the question type segment.
You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Okay.
All right, you got hands everywhere, Pete.
Go
What would you
ahead.
like to do?
It's up to you, Mark. You want to continue on
Let's
this, or you
see.
want to move away from this? Well, I think it was ATH Nick and then Neil. By the way, guys,
Anchovy.
Yeah.
ATH
all
one.
right, hold on one second. At 9 o'clock, Brian Costello will join.
Thank you guys.
Bry.
Thank you guys. If you can't hear me, I'm in Italy right now, so if my service is iffy, that's the reason why. But
You're
first
good.
off, I want to say with the Justin Fields, I'm happy with them getting Justin Fields. I'm not saying that like I think Justin Fields is an amazing QB, but I think it puts us with an assurance that Garrett Wilson will re-sign with the New York Jets, probably with even a little discount because before that, there was rumors of Garrett Wilson wanting to enter the free agency and he wanted to leave the Jets. So I think it's a good thing now we're able to keep Garrett Wilson. Probably he might not even ask for a super high contract. It's going to be high, but not as high compared to like we're paying him to stay on the Jets. And the second thing, like I'm looking at the regime, it seems like I like the way they're doing it. They're doing it completely different from Douglas. They're going, I believe, in the draft, they're going to draft an offensive lineman and with that number 7 pick. It seems that with Morgan Moses leaving, and them stalling out with the 3 days in this free agency market, and there's not really any good tackles in free agency that are available for the right price. I see them going for either Membu or Willis or Campbell for the number 7 pick, and I think it will make our offensive line very strong compared to how it was last year, where we were relying on Mitchell or Warren to defend against Garrett and Jones and Hitchinson and you know elite defensive lineman talent. So I think we're not going to be doing the band aid thing, and I think they're taking a uh, a more cheap approach. Let's build it up instead of just going for the shiny toy. So I'm not saying that the Jets are going to make the Super Bowl next year, no, but I think making the playoffs, that is definitely a goal that they do have suit. So I don't think people should be so negative. I think with a good offensive line, I think that this offense will look a lot better, and definitely with Justin Fields, we'll see how he does.
Yeah. I mean, I want to comment, but ATH, good points. Nick, go ahead, and then Neil. I want to get to the hands. Nick, you there? Can you guys hear me?
I
Yeah, I
hear you,
got you.
Pete.
I got you.
Oh, is
What?
Nick talking?
No.
No. So Jason
All
Giambi's
right.
going to take his spot.
No, Neil first. No offense. He's been waiting.
No, oh, good guys. Good morning. I was just going to say I don't agree with Mark on everything, and I don't necessarily agree with him here, but I will give Mark credit. He before free agency, he did say he didn't want Justin Fields. Jets signed him, and he's staying steadfast on that. I think often we see fans that definitely will move to give their team optimism when they make a move, even if they don't agree with it. So, Mark, I appreciate you standing your ground. For me, it's kind of maybe in the middle. Like you were headed into a season with Tyrod Taylor as your starting quarterback, and Tyrod is a good veteran and a good guy, and by all means, well respected player. But I feel like if he was your starting quarterback for the season, the Jets are looking straight down the barrel of a top 5 pick. At least Justin Fields brings a level of intrigue. And I don't necessarily think that he's the quarterback of the future for the Jets, but there is that what if element towards it. A 26-year-old guy leaving a good organization like Pittsburgh. And as Jets fans, like, yeah, sure, you guys all want to win. You all want to make the playoffs, all that stuff. But you also don't want your Sundays to be, you wake up on Sunday and it's a chore to watch your favorite team. So I do think Justin Fields does bring a level of excitement there. And I don't know who said it, but whoever Eggstrom or whatever his name is going to have to create a scheme that utilizes Fields' strengths, minimizes his weakness, and I think the Jets are going to be a run-heavy team this year, and I know it was something that a lot of Jets fans were pounding the table for last season. We didn't see it, and obviously Aaron Rodgers had a lot of power to audible out of plays, and Aaron Rodgers, just like any good gunslinging quarterback, likes to put the ball in the air. So I do think you'll see more of a control-based offense, time of possession offense, and it'll be intriguing to see. I wouldn't go off of just Fields' failures in the past because I do think a year in an organization like Pittsburgh under Arthur Smith could do him some good. But I think Mark, the stat you provided was staggering when you said that 0-22 in games less than 20 points, because as we
Yeah.
know, the rules in this league favor the offense, and the NFL wants touchdowns, so you got to put points on the board to win in this league. But it's a good debate, man, and yeah, you guys are giving each other some black eyes, but it will all work out.
Thanks, Neil.
It's okay, Neil.
Appreciate
You
it.
have Zach Wilson.
Oh man, I'm not. I'm not. Look, I think both. I'll be honest. I think both of us are going to be drafted around the top 10 next year. So don't. There's no sunshine and rainbows coming from me.
Who's next?
Wait, Neil,
Wait,
McDaniel said you guys are going to win this year. So you got to listen to him, bro.
I, I think we win at the end of the
Buckeye,
season when
stop. Come on.
I think we win at the end of the season when he
He's
and
gone.
Greer are relieved of their duties. Probably that's I think when
Yes,
we win.
sir.
Who's? I'm all confused with this now.
It's Giambi, Pete.
All right. It
Thanks,
was Nick.
Mark.
It was
Appreciate
Nick
it.
Yeah, make him
because
work.
he came back. But go ahead.
Oh, Pete, you're doing me dirty. No,
No,
I
I'm
mean,
not.
listen,
My bad.
Mark. I appreciate my good buddy letting me up on the floor, but at the same time, I have to disagree with Mark. I don't understand what he's so angry about. I mean, I much rather see Aaron Glenn and Muji bring in young players, build a culture in here, and even if they win 3, 4, maybe even 5 games, but they at least progress, kind of similar to what the Patriots did last year. Granted, they had Drake May on their team, and I don't think Justin Fields will resemble anything close to that. But I mean, that's all you really could hope for, and then you continue to build. Maybe next year you add some more solid free agents and then you draft a quarterback, and then that's the year that you could hopefully be a team like the Texans or the Packers have been, where they had a young quarterback and nobody really expected them to make the playoffs, and they did some damage. So I just whatever they do this year, you're not going to hear me scream and yell. The last 2 years, they had Aaron Rodgers. I was told that they were quarterback away from competing. They're not worth yelling about this year. They're really not. So as long as I see progress when it comes to the draft, I think they can go a million different directions. Personally, I think Mason Graham is probably the best player available that will be available to them at 7. Um, I really like Will Campbell. I don't know who this Missouri tackle is, but everybody's, singing his praises. Will Johnson, I think, is an excellent cornerback because I think this guy Stevens kind of stinks. But listen, if Javon Kinlaw can get paid $15 million, $12 million is cheap. But I really don't think it's worth yelling about. And I think Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, to what Pete said, is a good quarterback. He's shown time and time again that he can hold the fort down. But eventually after 5 or 6 weeks, he's going to get injured. So I think having him and Fields supplement each other will be nice. And you know what? Whatever happens, happens. So we'll
I
see.
wonder who. I wonder who was bidding against Washington with Kinlaw.
Hey, Petey, trivia question. Who did DJ Moore have his most yards and touchdowns with as a quarterback?
Excuse me.
Who did DJ Moore have his most yards and touchdowns with? Who was throwing him the ball that year?
Sam Darnold.
I'm going to
Bro,
take a guess here because he's
Justin
on our
Fields.
team now. The quarterback of the Jets,
It was
Justin
Justin
Fields.
Fields. It was Justin Fields. Over 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Buckeye,
How
you
many
should change
yards
your
did
picture to
George
Strawberry
Pickens have
Field.
last year with
Eh, eh, eh,
Fields?
all Buckeyes all day.
Yep. At least you're disclosing bias. I can appreciate that.
I always.
So
George Pickens
Buckeye,
had
wait,
900
Buckeye. Do
yards
you
last
think?
year
Do you think
with
Fields is
Pickens.
going to be good here? Since you're on,
I,
listen, I'm not
I
claiming he's
think
going to be
nothing's going to
good.
be good here in 2025. I think I'm resigned to the fact that this is a start to get right year, right? Like to build a culture, to not have Twitter as our first vice after games and shit, maybe even during games. Like I want to see a cultural change. I want to see some leaders in the locker room. I want to see a difference of behavior. I want to feel like the owner is not our GM, head coach, and everything, and that the son is not making moves. Like that's to me a victory this year. The record, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we win 3 games, 6 games. That part doesn't matter to me.
Who's next?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, Nick. Nick, you were
Oh my
waiting.
god.
Yes. Yeah. What?
Dude,
Yeah.
my
Why?
technical, I just crapped out. It was my turn to speak and it stopped working. It's annoying. But I wanted to bring a point. I liked what ATH had to say. I agree that this team needs a tackle. However, I don't know if number 7 is the spot to get one because I have a question for everyone. Do you trust Max Mitchell or Carter Warren, whoever it is, to play tackle more than Malachi Corley to be a reliable wide receiver too? That's that's what I think.
I don't think.
I don't think that Corley or Xavier Gibson or any of these other bums that are practice squad players on any other roster can play wide receiver 2 in a serious NFL offense. Our passing game will be negative without a receiver that can take the top off and even complement Garrett Wilson. Whether that's Tet McMillan or Luther Burden, I don't really care, but or Tyler Warren even. If you have another serious weapon on offense, because currently we have one, so you can't move the ball because the reason why you can get away with not having a tackle is because you have Justin Fields, who can run away, who can break a sack, who can make a play with his legs. You don't need him to be protected like Fort Knox because he is able to get out of the pocket and do something. But if you don't get a receiver or Tyler Warren, I'd be happy with either. Then teams are going to put 8 guys in the box and they're going to stop our read option. They're going to stop our RPOs and they're going to man Garrett with a safety shade. And we're going to have no offense. We're going to get no yards the entire year.
Every
So I
single
think
year, though, there's a wide receiver that's cut, whether it be through training camp, he gets waived, etc. You have no offensive line. It doesn't matter what weapons you have. Offensive line, this team has neglected for over 15 years. It's the most important position, probably behind the quarterback. To just ignore that
I
is
agree.
insanity.
No, but ignore it is not ignoring it because there's 4 pieces that are rock solid. You've got 4 excellent pieces. Having 4 or 5, that's 80%. That's really good. Our receiver room is like 16% complete. It's anemic.
I want to say this. I do agree with you, Nick. I do agree with you, Nick. But I do feel that there are a lot of talented wide receivers in the second and third round, and even in free agents. I think a lot of these free agent wide receivers that are available, there's still some decent wide receiver twos that are available. My thing is, if Aaron Rodgers was playing horrible with the bad offensive line, what makes you think that Justin Fields is going to play much better with a bad offensive line? I know
Because
people.
when
And do you
Rogers
really
when
do you
Rogers
really
takes a
trust this team
12-yard
drafting a
sack,
late round offensive line prospect and developing it properly?
Oh, you don't know yet, Giambi, because we have a
yeah,
different regime now. Let's see. We don't know. We
Rogers
can't definitively say that Aaron Glenn's not a good or bad coach yet. We can't. Nobody can say
Rogers
that.
Rogers would take a 12-yard sack. Justin Fields will get a 12-yard gain, or maybe even a 4-yard gain with a scramble, run out of bounds. But that's you can get away with having a bad offensive line when you have a guy who can get 8 yards on 2nd and 4, or well, I mean, it's the Jets. We're never in
That
second and
I
four,
agree with.
so
That I
second and
agree
12.
with. The
But
Jets have listen. The Jets have a dynamic guy now. Listen, can he throw? We don't know. Can he
he
do it?
certainly can't
Probably
throw to
not.
Malachi Corley and Xavier Gibson. Nobody can throw to those
Correct.
two. He can maybe throw to
Nick,
Garrett Wilson.
Do you like that the Jets got Fields?
I like that the
Do you
Jets
like
have
this
Fields.
move?
I like it for the circumstances in which we were presented. This was the best of a bad situation. This is making the best of a bad situation. It's kind of like when you have a relative that passes away and you go to the funeral, but you get to see a bunch of people that you haven't seen in a while. It's like, oh, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Even though it's a terrible situation, it's kind of like that where we are able to compete in this. I don't know if we'll win many games because New England is 1,000 times better and they're well coached now. So that's 2 losses. Buffalo's incredible. That's two
Wait,
losses.
wait, 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 wait. I am not putting that we can't beat the Patriots. Come on.
Vrabel, Drake May,
They're
Sorry,
all the
better
Nick.
than
free
us.
agents they just got, they just picked up 7 starters.
What
They
free
beat us last
agents?
year.
Matt Collins? Matt Collins scares you?
Morgan Moses,
Pete,
the D
Pete,
tackle
Okay.
from the
Pete.
Eagles.
Hey, Pete,
Okay, so
Pete, I told you that, Pete. New England is better than
all
us,
right.
bro.
All right, so we're already rescinding to a division. Okay, so we're going to go 0-6 in the
It's
division.
I
no, no,
think
no,
so.
no. We'll go 1-5 because Zach Wilson's going to have 360 yards and 4 touchdowns against us in Week 14. So that's already written in stone. But we will beat the
That'll
Dolphins
be
one time.
rock bottom for the Jets.
Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, though, I think that 6 wins in the first year is a success with the current way that the roster is constructed. If you can pick up a Tet McMillan or somebody who can contribute, like Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Lad McConkey, Marvin Harrison, all these receivers that we saw being dominant at 21, 22 years old, if you can get one of them to give you 12,000, 13,000, I'm sorry, 1,200, 1,300 yards, I think you can find your way to 8 wins or maybe even 9.
All right, Nick, we have some things to talk about, but let me get to hands. I think it's
Yes, sir.
Santucci next, and then Tom. What's up?
Morning, everybody.
I knew you were back fully, man. I knew it.
It's the off
What's
season.
up?
What's going on, brother?
What's going on, June? Look, first thing I want to say is we can't be basing how many games will be won on paper because we were paper warrior winners last year with Aaron Rodgers. We can't be sitting here saying we're gonna win this and lose this. Like games are never won on paper. Everybody thought we get Aaron Rodgers, we're going to the Super Bowl, and hell, the season ended at week 8. We was just waiting on it to end. Um, Give me Mason Graham or either Will Campbell, and or if I can't get either one of them, if y'all feel like nobody in the top 10 is worth it, we could trade back, get more picks. But I don't think this season is really based on trying to make a push for the playoffs. I think we're building towards something solid, and I'd rather the foundation be built slowly so that it'll be more stable. Because it seems like when we go all in, we like completely killed the whole team. Like we lost our whole defense just trying to get Rodgers. And then now here we go without any picks. The defense is I mean, this regime is trying to rebuild what Joe Douglas completely fucked up. Like I don't think we understand how bad this team somebody posted about the draft picks of Joe Douglas draft. And Garrett Woodson and Sauce Gardner is and Brees Hall is probably about the only thing that I can remember that was good from his draft. Um, I feel like,
Jermaine.
oh yeah, Jermaine
Michael
Johnson.
Carter, Michael Carter,
Will
Mm,
McDonald,
ABT, Will McDonald, the center, Titman,
okay, Tillman.
AVT,
I mean, I don't know about
Sherwood.
AVT. AVT has been injury
Olu.
prone. He hasn't
Oh
really.
yeah,
I
Sherwood.
no, no about no Sherwood. I
What,
mean, I'm
yo,
talking about stars. Y'all naming every
bro?
role
That
player.
you
Like,
don't have you, but you don't draft
But no,
8
but
stars.
Jones, real quick. But to be fair, nobody has brought up that Douglas did. They did draft Sherwood in the later rounds.
Yeah,
So everybody says Douglas hasn't done anything in the late draft. He did hit on 2 5th-round picks in Carter and Sherwood. I'll give him that. But his other stuff has been
I
it was
mean, this
bad. That's
regime
why
is
he's not
getting
here.
they got Justin Fields for 2 years. I mean, we're acting like he signed a major contract and was overpaid. I
No,
mean,
I'm not. That
for what we
I'm
got
not.
for him for, I'm okay with it. I mean, who else was we gonna get? Daniel Jones?
Yeah, and plus next year
I
we
mean,
need a backup quarterback anyway. If it doesn't work, he's the backup next year, and
I
they go
mean,
get somebody else,
we got
and
Tyrod
they have the
Taylor as a
money.
bridge. I mean, I like the core that we got right now for a solid season. 7, 8 wins, like Nick said, maybe 9. That's good for me. Hit the draft next year or free agency next year.
But
More things will come available. I'm not saying Justin Fields is just gonna be Lamar Jackson, but
mhm.
I'm also saying that we're just killing the kid like he's Zach Wilson. He's definitely better than Zach Wilson. I mean, he can
Yeah,
at
but
least.
Santucci, we don't even know the schedule yet and who they're playing. Like, are they playing, the Falcons week? We don't know that. And no, you can't tell me that the Jets can't win games at home against Atlanta, Carolina. Come on.
I mean, the way I'm looking, the roster ain't even filled out yet, so
That's what I'm
we
saying. So
can't
I'm
judge
holding
this
back.
team. But then again, we can't also act like first year coaches can't have a good year. I mean, we've seen it happen with several teams, and I'm just trying to be logical. Like, are we gonna come in every off season negative? Like the new regime is trying to build something, and all we could do is just sit back and see what's going on. The draft hasn't even happened yet. And I don't know who y'all want for the draft, but either we could trade back, get more picks, draft pretty good. We don't even know how good this new regime is going to draft. All I'm saying is so much potential left to happen on this roster before we start killing the Justin Fields pick. There was no quarterbacks out there really. I mean, who's going to get Russell Wilson?
No.
I mean,
I
nobody
agree.
even wants Aaron
Santucci,
Rodgers.
can I just step? Let me. I got four hands up, and there's a guest coming in soon. So can I just get to other hands? I want you in the combo though.
Yeah,
Just give me.
yeah, you
All
go.
right, please. Tom, go ahead. Thank you, Santucci.
Morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
What up, Jay Z?
But look, no one's hearing what we're, talking about. Sorry if I'm kind of hold up. Sorry, just drove through a brief jet spot there, but because I didn't see Dom on there because I was looking while waiting my turn, and he proposed something interesting with a poll he's actually got here. With this being the first three positions we draft, the D line, right tackle, and tight end. So, Warren, Membu, or Graham being either the first three picks. Three different options with that. Is it safe to assume in this room going forward, those are the three players we probably want or need at number 7? Like, do we want Warren? Do we want Membu? Or
Membu.
Graham? Like Membu?
Yeah. I'll say
That's who you
Membo
want,
or
June? Is
Campbell,
Membu?
Membo Campbell or Graham. Either or, I'll be okay with.
All right. So not with the last one or two, not Santucci, but the speaker before saying about Warren with the weapon or T Mac as well or McMillan, because of Moses, went to the Patriots, unfortunately, which I don't fault him. Thank you. I guess they felt he was worth more than the Jets tried to re-sign him. But look, end of the day, let's see what happens since today's the official start, because I know they required it yesterday. But seeing as outside of some of the releases, and like a key player or two, like Bosa being signed for a year to the Bills, not looking forward to that, even though it's not Nick, it's the older one, but still not looking forward to it. And let's just see what actually happens today and in the next couple of days leading up to St. Pat. I'd say St. Patrick's Day, just right after the brackets, because usually right after the brackets, that's when the lower tier starts being signed before and between the draft. Since I know you got other speakers waiting and you got a guest, I just have nothing else really to add unless someone wants to push back on anything.
Thanks, Tom. You're good. Appreciate the points. I think Jones is next, and James and Hexagon.
Somebody else can go first, PD.
All right. Uh,
Yo,
who, Justin.
what's up, Edie? How's it going?
Good morning. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm chilling. It's another day. What's going on, June?
My guy,
What's
what's
going
up,
on,
Just?
Derek?
How
What's going
you?
on, everybody up here?
What's up? What's up?
Hey, man, listen. I just came up here more so because you guys were talking about the teams in the division and like a early view on the teams even before free agency starts. Um, I think the Jets with Justin Fields. I think you guys are going to be more likely a run first team, and I don't know if this is something you guys have really been asking for. But with the skill sets that you have in the backfield, specifically in the run game with Allen, Justin Fields, and Brees Hall, I think you guys can bring out this methodical ground and pound dash and slash offense, and I think it'll be pretty formidable, especially when you shore up that running, that run blocking on the offensive line. If we're talking about the Patriots, I'm not sure about their offense. Petey, don't give Mac Hollins some grace, Petey. Come on, but I'm not sure about their offense. That Patriots defensive line right now is looking pretty tenacious, looking pretty nasty. I think they have one of the better defensive lines right now, as it stands. Like we said, this is all on paper in the league. Especially with a healthy Barrymore. Hopefully he's recovering from his blood clot thing because past football that's a pretty serious um, thing to deal with for anybody. So I hope he's doing well with that. But if you combine him with Milton, I think they signed another D tackle that's like a run stuff for like 338 pounds. And Harold Landry, his best years came under Vrabel as a player. So I think they stepped up that defensive line significantly, and they're looking pretty good. Um, I'm not really going to comment on the Bills right now. I sound like a homer, but we're,
Justin,
we're, we're
I've been trying to tell
Well, the
everybody
Bills are
too
the
about
team
New
to
England.
beat.
No, bro,
The
no.
Bills are the
Listen,
team to
listen.
beat
Ain't
still.
no one's not saying that Bill's not the team to beat. We're saying look out for the fucking Patriots, bro.
Yeah, I think that Patriots defensive line, you can't really laugh at that, man. That's nothing to turn your nose up to. That's going to be a really good defensive line. Um, the Dolphins, and I mean, the Bills, we're going in the right direction. They're doing stuff that I like. Um, so I mean, it's going to be like the division. We're gaining talent, right? Like it's going to be a tougher contest, especially for us. It's going to be a tougher contest for you guys. It's going to be a tough contest for the Patriots. Like I said, I'm not too sure about their offense. Um, I like Drake May. I like Drake May, but their receiving room, to me, I mean, I know they still have Polk.
That's what I'm saying. But how are they scoring points with their
Travis
defense?
Hunter.
Okay. Well, he's a rookie.
Well, isn't Travis Hunter's going to play defense in the NFL? I don't think
Yeah. I mean,
he's going to do
well,
offense.
they have Carlton. I don't know if they're gonna. I have a feeling Abdul Carter may fall to them, which I'd be worried about that. That
Yeah,
would be scary.
if they get Carter with that defensive line already, that's going to be pretty. That's going to be pretty nasty. So I
Well, if
mean,
Sanders and Ward go, who are the Giants taking? Travis Hunter or Carter?
Abdul Carter. They would be crazy, PD, to not do it.
it depends on if the Giants get Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, because the Giants might. I don't know. They're going. It looks like they're going all in on Rodgers.
Nah,
It-
PD saying if the Browns and Titans took both the quarterbacks,
Yeah,
Giants will go
because
RG
now
Carter.
I thought that should real quick. I thought Cleveland would take Carter if that was dependent on Garrett being gone, but he's back. So
No, that's a good point.
I mean, but do they take Carter and just be relentless on the outside on the defensive line, going after the quarterback? That'd be interesting too.
I mean, they might have to. They got 33% of their cap space tied up in two players.
That's true. Justin, let me get to a couple of people because we're coming up on 9 o'clock. All right.
Yeah, go ahead. No problem.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Good to hear from you, man.
Oh,
Jones, go
Hey,
ahead, and then
hey,
Hexagon.
all right. I'm ready. I'll just keep it short and quick. I'm ready to see what round they get another safety in. You know, I enjoy watching defense. Obviously, they got to get another defensive tackle right there. But if Mason Graham, Mimbo, and Tet is all there, who are y'all most comfortable in taking?
Well, look, I'm gonna say if we don't sign another tackle in free agency, then you have to go Mimbo.
Okay,
Mimbo.
all right. What if we don't get another tackle or defensive tackle in free agency, June? What if we don't? We have to wait for the draft for
Well,
that.
okay, so in a draft that's deep in interior defensive lineman, I'm gonna take the tackle and then come back around and get an interior defensive lineman. It's a deep draft.
Okay. Do you think it's deep at wide receiver though?
No,
So what if?
no, it's not.
All right. So I don't. I think
Yeah,
one of those three positions will be
yeah.
addressed. But what if we get to a point where neither three is, and we can't hold that against the front office or the organization? Maybe they just don't want to overpay somebody. That you know. So what if we get to
Right,
those?
true.
What if we get to the draft and all three are open?
Okay, so with that being, I would say you take Mimble and you trade back in to the. Uh, actually, yeah, you trade. You at least got some good wide receivers in the second round, so
Yeah.
you might not have to trade back into it.
I
So
think
yeah,
personally the wide receiver from Stanford, the guy that got like 300 receiving yards against Travis Hunter, he's projected to go the third or second round. There are some talented wide receivers that you can.
yeah.
Aguilar, that's his name. That guy that he's like 6'2", and
Higgins. I
Higgins,
like Higgins.
Jaden
Yeah,
Higgins.
yeah, and Higgins too.
Yeah, I like him too.
These guys are projected like second round. So there are guys you can get in the second round. But the thing is, we just mentioned that in our division, everyone is getting their defensive line stacked with Bosa. You saw the Patriots were doing. We have to fulfill that tackle position, whether it's Membo or whether it's Will Campbell. I mean, Campbell from LSU. Either or, I think we get a tackle. it we can't have another season with just relying on Warren and Mitchell to block
Word.
against
That's a
Bosa.
fact.
Block against Bosa. The Patriots, they always get sacks against us. So come on,
Mm-hmm.
let's be
Yeah,
honest here.
yeah. Now that I
Mm-hmm.
think, uh, out of D tackle, our defensive line, period, uh, offensive tackle, wide receiver, and tight end, we're gonna have to overpay maybe at one of those positions simply because we can't. Those four in the draft, that's gonna be hard to fill all four if we don't get anything in here.
That's a fact.
But think about it. Like the tight ends, I think they're like six good tight ends in the draft. We could pick up Lee's in the third or fourth round.
Hey, Jay, this tight end draft is another deep. That's another deep
Arroyo, I like
position in the draft.
Arroyo. I like Arroyo in
Yes,
the third round,
that's
fourth
my guy,
round.
Key. Yeah, you get
I
a
like you know what I'm saying, that Grand on the second round. Is it Graham or Grand? The tackle defensive tackle from Michigan.
Grant.
We could get him.
Grant.
Grant, yeah, we could get him. Um,
I'm going in the first.
now what?
Yeah, he's going in the
Well, the
Mm-hmm.
first.
first. That's what
And
I'm saying. But you never know. There's a lot of needs, and that we could get. Well, San Francisco, the team that they're gonna get me heavy on the defense. So they might pick a lot of players in the draft because they need young players in that team. They got rid of a lot of players. So defense, I think San Francisco's going to pick up a lot of defense. Um, I believe that we could get at least three out of two out of three good quality players in the draft, starters,
Yeah, they're still gonna have to
when
fill
it comes to
holes
that.
though too. With
Yeah, there's be
whether
like,
it's
and then
undrafted. God,
that we 10 picks this year, eight picks, is it?
8. Yep,
Eight
8.
picks.
Yep. Go get me
If you
no.
could get, I think with the background that Glenn has, with what where he was a scouter for how many years? 5 years. That makes a difference. You understand? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and also Wuji has experience in scouting department. So those are two things that it gives me a little ease because last year I don't know, we don't have that experience, and we have a lot of good players, but we had a lot of garbage players last in this draft for those 3 years that we had the manager, the GM last year.
Yeah, Jay, real quick, I need to get to Hexagon and coach because
No,
we're
no,
up against nine
I'm out.
o'clock. But no, you're good. You're good. Just let me Hexagon. Go ahead. I no 3 minute rant though. Hexagon against June today.
Yo, good morning, fellas. Hey, listen, I'm just trying to move forward, right? And I'm looking at what the Jets are trying to create, especially specifically on defense. What I'm noticing is that this defense is gonna be fucking fast. My man Brandon, he's a speed demon, yo. And normally when he got in trouble, what I noticed, what I'm reading and what I'm listening to and what I'm trying to catch up on is that he normally got in trouble when it was zone defense. Believe it or not, man to man, he kind of held his own. His his uh his percentages went up when he played man. My man, the safety, he's also a speed demon, bro. He crosses all types of fields, and he's a bull hawk from Syracuse. What
You're
I'm
talking
thinking
about
is
the safety, right, from
yes,
Jacksonville.
Just Dre
yes,
Cisco.
yes. That's speed, bro. And then retaining our linebackers, that's speed. Um, what I see our defense very very fast. What I'm thinking is that, like you guys said, the the draft is very deep in interior linemen on both sides of the end. So I'm thinking let's drop back from 7, and I'm thinking to pick up the best available player maybe later on, like that safety from Georgia. If you want more speed, you want more. You want another guy that's gonna cover range from sideline to sideline, and he's all over the place. And you saw him in the combines, like this guy This guy is an athletic freak. Like I'm thinking, pick up another safety. Like I'm thinking our coach, he likes corners, but and we're gonna go from the worst, with one of the worst secondaries in last year to maybe one of the best and fastest secondaries this year, and that's what I'm thinking. Pick up that safety from Georgia, and get some more draft picks, and then you guys could play with whatever you want in the middle rounds, and pick up offensive linemen and defensive linemen all the way through to the end. And I'm thinking, why not bring back the tight end from last year on a cheaper deal. He gave us 50 catches, 500 yards last year. Like, if he could do that, and then we could pick up another tight end in the middle of the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like a blocking tight end. I think that could do something for us. And again, running game and defense. And I think that we're gonna have the fastest defense next year. One of the fastest on paper, at least.
Well, let's hope they can adjust to the scheme first. I'm not going to go that route, Hexagon, but they
Well,
the
they
one
play man. Well,
well, right.
they're gonna be playing man,
Right.
right?
The
So
one the
so
one thing
man
that I
man
do like is that they're
man
young.
decides speed.
Most of the Jet defensive guys are under 30, which is good. Besides, let's see what one of my first questions is going to be to Kaz about Mosley, if he thinks they're going to get rid of him. Because today, I mean, I don't know if they keep Mosley, where does he fit in this defense? Everybody says he's slow, but the guy's still a beast against the run.
Nah,
So
he's too for what they're trying to do. They're trying to have speed. He doesn't
Speed,
fit.
man. That's all I see, June. Right? Speed,
Speed.
speed. Let's go.
Mark, are you back? I don't know if you could talk
No,
yet.
not yet, Pete. I need a
All
couple
right.
more minutes.
All right. No problem. All right. Real quick, Coach and Curtis, because we're up against uh, Brian
Go to
Costello
Curtis
coming.
first, man. Go to Curtis.
Bro,
Coach can wait,
relax.
man.
God damn, June.
Man,
You
See,
heard the
Hey,
host.
Coach is a man of his word, though. He's been in
down,
here since
God damn,
they got
bro.
rid. We got
man.
peeled.
I want to
Listen,
hear Kurt, man.
you the co-host. You not the host. Listen to the host, okay,
I want to hear Kurt. I don't want to hear you, man.
bro. Okay, so this leads right into my first thing. Fuck June. Okay, that's first off. Secondly, I'm riding with Mark. Anything he say, I'm riding with Mark. Thirdly, y'all got a second and a third round pick, don't you?
Yep.
Okay, so my thing is, I don't think y'all should trade back in the first. I think whoever is the best available D lineman is at number 7, that's who y'all need to get. Y'all need to get Quinn and a Robin. That way, it allows for Sherwood and if y'all bring Mosley back to be able to just roam around there and just fill gaps and stop the run and shit. I think in the second round, you either go. You either get Justin another weapon at receiver, or you can go get Arroyo or Mason Taylor, somebody like that, at tight end to kind of help balance out that tight end room too. Cause I know y'all said y'all been lacking in those areas too. And then I would say with that third round pick, you might can go back to the defense. Maybe go get you a safety, uh, corner, something like that. Add to that secondary room. But I think that number 7 pick, y'all should stay pat. And I think Mason Graham might fall to y'all. Boy, if y'all get Mason Graham with the
So what
Quinton,
you doing at right tackle though?
shit.
So what about right
Huh?
tackle? You're not
Right?
addressing your offensive line?
So June, that's why I'm thinking June, right? Drop back, get a couple of more picks. Maybe we pick up a second or third round with
Yeah,
somebody
but how do
desperate
you
looking
know
to pick
who's
up
going to trade
pick
up
up.
and what are you getting for the pick? Like, if you
Well,
move
what
down,
I'm thinking
That's
is
the
that
fact.
somebody's gonna be desperate, right? Somebody's gonna be desperate enough to want that number 7 pick. Somebody always is, right? They're always looking to get into the top 7, top 8. Somebody, So maybe let's see, and then drop back, get a couple of extra draft picks, and then pick up that safety, bro. I'm telling you, that safety, he's a beast. And then line him up and let Glenn just, let him and Cicero and all them, let them play back there with Sauce, all that speed, and then you could pick up your linemen. You could play with those linemen after you get up. Maybe you get another second rounder. Maybe you get a third rounder for that number
Hex,
7.
Hex. For you, in order for you to get a second rounder, that means someone back in the late teens, early 20s have to trade up. Do you want to fall back from 7 to that?
All right, June, hold that question. Joining the
How far
space,
does that safety fall? That's what
Hexagon.
I want.
Hang on 1 second. Joining us now is Brian Costello from the New York Post. Brian, good morning. Thanks for joining, man. How are you?
I'm good, Pete. How you doing?
I'm good. Good. As always, a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks, Brian. No humor yet for me. It's the morning, so it's
Uh-oh.
not it's not a night space. So, but Brian, give me your thoughts on Fields.
Yeah.
Obviously he was their number one choice. They were aggressive getting him. Were you shocked by what he got paid here, or give me your thoughts
No,
on
no.
this?
No, I mean, you look at it, Pete, $20 million for a starting quarterback is pretty good. Um, that's on the low end, right? So I thought he was the best option for them out of a lot of uninspiring options. We talked about this when you talked about the decision to move on from Aaron Rodgers. There wasn't a lot out there that was like a slam dunk great option. So I thought Fields, I view him, he's a lottery ticket, right? Like maybe you hit on it. Chances are the odds are it's not going to work out, but there's a chance it does. And if it does, then you got a guy, and he's 26 years old. He's got athleticism. Like if you're looking at the other guys out there on the market in free agency, I think he made the most sense for the Jets.
I agree, Brian. Now, Brian, what do you think? Do you think they're going to bring in like a veteran wide receiver now? Because is Lazard, are they are they thinking about keeping Lazard here because he's still here? Or I mean, it makes sense to with his contract, but I mean,
No,
what are they going to do here?
I think Lazard will be cut today, probably. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure what they're waiting for, but I think he'll be cut. I don't think they're keeping him. Um, then I'm obviously I think they need to bring in a veteran wide receiver. There's not a lot of great options out there. I know we've talked about Tim Patrick a lot because of his ties to Glenn and Engstrand. So maybe it's him, but there's more work to do at that position right now when you look at it. Obviously, I think receiver, tight end, right tackle. When you look at offense, are big holes. There's still the draft. There's still a lot of time to fill these holes. I know like free agency always feels like warp speed time of like it feels like we've been doing this for 5 weeks and it's only been 2 days. And you can find players, right? Like I remember, like I would give you a pretty good, easy example, Pete, of a late signing that worked out for a team was, Mekhi Becton. We all saw the Eagles signed him after the draft last year, and he ended up being a key piece of their offensive line. So you can find players after the first couple of days of free agency. So I think, there's no reason to like panic. But yeah, I do think definitely need to add to the receiver room.
Brian, do you think Mosley's going to be gone too?
Yeah, he's one that's interesting. I do think he's gone because they just paid Sherwood what they paid him, and I'm guessing Quincy's probably going to be looking for a new contract. I don't know that, but just looking, reading the tea leaves, I'm guessing he's going to be asking for one. I would
Yep.
think Mosley's going to retire. Just based off of the way last year went, the injuries. So maybe they're just waiting on him to make his decision and giving him grace as showing him. Obviously, he's been a good Jet, very accomplished in the NFL. Maybe they're just letting him decide the timeline of this. It really. I don't think there's any cap savings with Mosley, right? I think it goes up, so there's no reason they have to do it or
Oh,
anything.
yeah.
So I think they're probably just waiting on CJ to make his decision.
Brian, I believe he's done the Kinlaw contract. I mean, I can't believe he had that type of money, man.
Yeah, I was
I
stunned.
mean, he was
Yeah,
one of the, I mean, who would they bid?
I don't know. I was stunned. I talked to some people who were Kinlaw fans inside the Jets last year who always argued with me about Kinlaw, who are taking victory laps now, saying, "See, he played better than you thought." But it's hard to believe he got that kind of money. The defensive tackle market has really been crazy to me. Like I just can't believe what some of these guys have gotten out there. But that seems to be the position that's now exploding money wise, and we've seen it at the top end with Quinnen or with Dexter Lawrence, with others there. But now it
Yep.
seems like the middle class at defensive tackle is also getting paid.
Yeah. Before I get to June and Mark, I just saw this is a guy that I did want Jets. Hogan. I 2 years ago
Ogunjobi.
when he was free and he signed Pitts. Yeah, he just signed with
PD, you don't want him.
Buffalo.
PD, you don't want him, bro.
Buffalo just, but yeah, but I mean, what do you think they're going to do at D tackle? Draft Brian?
I think they have to do both. Like you right now you've got Quinnen and Leonard Taylor. Like you got to add bodies. Like forget about
Right.
like this just the starter piece of it. You've got to add bodies. So yeah, I think drafting and free agency, they've got to add some people there. So I think you're going to see them add some depth. Like I think we've hit that part of free agency now, right? These guys are now getting a lot of 1 year deals and a lot of depth signing. So I think you'll see that. And then, yeah, I think they have to address it in the draft as well.
That's why I want y'all to stay at
June, go
7.
ahead.
Hey, Kaz,
Yep.
great speaking to you as always, brother. Great speaking to you. Quick question now. Am I wrong for looking at it this way? If we can't address the right tackle in free agency, you almost have to take that right tackle in the draft at 7th pick.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what they do in free agency before you say that. I don't like saying you have to do anything in the draft. Like, let's get there and see how the cards fall. You don't want to overdraft someone just because you feel like you need that position.
Mm-hmm.
Like what if Mason Graham is there at 7, right? And they haven't really done anything great at defensive tackle. Then you're drafting a guy who could be a really, it looks like he could be a really good player for a long time versus reaching for a tackle. So I wouldn't box myself into a corner like that. But yeah, I mean they still have a lot of needs, but we have to see what they do here. Like I said before about Mackay, and then remember, they were signing starters last year. They signed Tyron on Friday, free agency, and I think the Mike Williams signing was the week later, right? Because he visited, he was in the
Mm-hmm.
building, obviously. So
Yes.
I think that was the next week. So there's still a lot of time to make moves, but I wouldn't make any pronouncements about the 7 pick right now.
Now, my next question to you is, how likely do you think it is that we re-sign Conklin?
It's getting more likely by the day. That's how I feel. I thought Conklin was probably going to explore his market. Conklin's a really good guy who is liked in that building. Not that there's a lot of people left in the building from 2024, but there's still people there that can give Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji input on players, staff members. There's guys in the equipment room. There's guys in different departments that have come across them. So I do think it becomes more likely by the day that and obviously it's a huge hole and him. He's a little bit older than what they're targeting right now. Like you can tell they've been going in that second contract guy between 24, 26 years old type
Mm-hmm.
of guys. Conklin's going to be this is his third contract. He's a little older, but I do think he makes some sense. Even if you're, again, all these positions you can address in the draft as well. But I think you need to start adding some depth at these positions. Potential starters that could be depth if you add somebody above them in the draft.
And I'm hearing something about possibly a trade with the Raiders to get Myers. Maybe
Michael
Mayer, you
Mayer, the
mean?
tight end.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything like legitimate there. Just speculation. They're obviously they're interested in moving him. He was a first round pick out of Notre Dame. Was he first round, second round? Out of Notre Dame, but the
No, no,
Jets
he was first round.
first round. Yeah, the Jets liked him when they took Will McDonald that year. The Jets did have him high. Obviously, it's a different regime now. They were in on, but he had some issues last year. We left the team for a while. They obviously got Brock Bowers, so they're willing to move him. So yeah, I'd be curious what the price is going to be. I would think you could get him for a late round pick. I haven't heard anything legitimate there with the Jets, but it certainly could. It makes some sense on some levels if they're comfortable with him as a player and whatever issues he was dealing with last year that he was away from the team.
Mark, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Thanks, Pete. Brian, thanks for being
No
in, man.
problem.
Always appreciate talking to you. Um, so the I was looking at the offensive coaching staff, and we know Eggstron's in there. Scott Turner is pass game coordinator. We got a quarterback coach, a wideout coach, and an O line coach. I did not see a run game coordinator. And with the addition of Justin Fields, I feel like this is going to be a run heavy
Yeah.
offense. Is run game coordinator like the sort of thing? Um, is this a relatively new kind of position, or it's the sort of
Yeah.
thing where if you're going to be a run first kind of team,
Look,
like having the run game guy makes
the
sense?
O line coach is usually the run game coordinator, whether he has that title or not. Like like back in the day, Bill Callahan coordinated the run under Schottenheimer. With Rex and Mangini. I don't think. I think that title was created as a way to give guys money. Honestly, I think it's one of those things where they can give him a better title and give him a little pay bump at times. I'm not sure. It's always been a collaborative effort. We always pin everything on the offensive coordinator, but it is a coordinator effort with the game plan between um, the offense coordinator, the quarterbacks coach, the O line coach, the offensive staff. So yeah, it's an interesting point that they didn't name anyone run game coordinator, but I would think the O line coach would be heavily involved there. But Engstrand's it's ultimately going to fall on Engstrand. Like that's the one we're going to be looking at. So I think there's a lot of pressure on him um, to scheme it up to take advantage of what Fields does well. So we'll see what he does.
And my second question, thank you. My
Yep.
second question, and I'll give it to the room, um, has to do with draft priorities and Justin Fields. Do you feel like the Fields move was really the direction they wanted to head in? And so now it's going to be they're looking to run a more mobile quarterback style scheme, and that may change their draft priority? Or do you think they just kind of got the guy and they're going to stick to their plan when it comes to the draft priority because eventually maybe they're going to make a move to be in a more West Coast system down the road? What's your sense?
Yeah, I think the second one. I don't think anyone. I don't think anyone's banking on Fields being here for a long time. I think if it works out, they'll be thrilled, right? And they'll be so happy. But I don't think they're totally scrapping their whole system long term for Justin Fields. I think there could be some moves made to try to help him along this year. Like I think, you know, if you're looking at the tight end, you might be going, we need a guy who's good at run blocking more than a pass catching tight end right now because we're going to be running the ball a lot with Fields. And obviously, I think if you're put the offense on paper right now, the strength of this offense is this running back room. I think they've got one really good running back in Brees and Braylon and Isaiah Davis. I think showed potential last year, so I think that's a strength of this team. Um, and the O line had potential last year. They didn't do great running in the running game, but so to me, there could be some concessions to Fields like that, like concentrating on a run blocking tight end. Uh, but I do think overall, they're not going to change their draft philosophy because of Justin Fields.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mark.
Brian.
Let's get to your good buddy Brian, Joe, and Clark.
All right.
It's
What's
Mets
up,
season
Kyle?
almost, Brian.
Well, Yankee season's over, Pete. So
Yeah,
So
fuck
you're
the
Well,
already
Mets.
counting, Brian. So you're already counting out the Yanks, not even in the abysmal American League.
I'm just having fun. They'll probably be all right. They usually figure out a way.
All right, fair enough. Go ahead, Joe.
what's going on, guys? What's up, Cos?
Hey, Joe.
What's going on, bro? A couple things. I like the Fields. I do like the Fields signing. Um, I'm just, I look at this team and we have, there's holes in so many places right now. I understand they added a safety. I don't know much about him. I mean, I guess he's a serviceable type of guy. He's not Holland. I mean, he's not that good. But I mean,
No.
hopefully, he could fill the need there as far as I think his team right now defensively on that defensive line is such a sieve. I mean, there's no, we have no size. I mean, we
Yeah.
get overpowered by teams, and I see all these tackles coming off the boards. I mean, guys getting signed every day. There's really nobody left. I mean, I'm not expecting a lot next year. I mean, I'm expecting a 3-4 win team, maybe a 5 win team. That basically, because there's just too many holes. We have no playmakers on offense. We have one wide receiver, our two a wide receiver two now is who, Gibson or Corley. Corley, I don't even know if he's going to be able, play.
Yeah.
We only saw him drop. We only saw him one play where he dropped the ball on the goal line. It cost us a touchdown. But there's a lot of concerns. Even you mentioned, the running back room. It's a nice room. I'm sorry. I'm still not. I got to see Hall, have a season where he shows flashes. He's great in space, but as far as an every down back to get 13, 1,400 yards, running through tackles, being running hard. Like I always brought up the kid on the Giants last year, that fifth round pick. I said, "Oh my God, you can watch the way he runs and then watch how way Brees Hall runs. There's night and day." They hit Tracy. I mean, I want to see Brees Hall run like that. Run angry, run hard.
Mhm.
And maybe Allen Braylon, the kid from Wisconsin, he showed a little bit too. But I just feel like right now, because there's so many. I mean, you could go so many places at the seventh pick. I don't want. I can't go 2 years in a row with a team that's so bereft of as far as offensive talent, as far as playmakers. I am not taking another offensive line with the seventh pick. I need either a tight end, a big time receiver, or trade back and get picks because I mean, I just so far with free agency they really haven't done much as far as. Do you see them signing any wide receivers right now, or maybe trading for an Olave, maybe if the defense is down? What do you see?
Yeah. I mean, I think they're going to sign somebody. I don't think it's going to be, inspiring though, Joe. There's not much out there that's going to be like, oh, move the needle. Like I said, like Tim Patrick. I think it's going to be a wide receiver 3 type of guy that they're going to sign. The Olave thing, I know that's gotten that's a lot of speculation. I'd be worried about his injury history right now. I would be looking into that. I don't know what the price would be from the Saints. I'm not sure how much
How
they
about a
give up
Cooper?
for
How about
him.
like a Cooper Cup, something like that?
I just don't think you're in that mode right now, Joe. Like you're signing an older, like,
No, I know.
and I also don't think Cooper Cup's going to want to come to the Jets. I think Cooper Cup's probably going to be ring chasing at this point in his career, unless you're going to overpay him, and
I
then you can
know.
get him.
It's just so.
So I just I think like I think you're uh, very pessimistic,
Well,
Joe.
no,
But
I don't
I
see any
understand
light
it.
at the
I
end of the
understand
tunnel,
it.
cause I see
Yeah,
years and years. I see in probably
I
four,
know.
3 years a new head coach, a new GM coming back again.
Yeah.
When is this cycle going to stop? You got to have talent, cause you got to have
Yes, you
playmaker.
do.
We don't have
You do.
players.
But I would say, Joe, the way you get talent is through the draft, right? Like, so it sucks. Like the short term, yeah, it sucks. Like I don't think the answers to you like what you're looking for are in free agency. Like you look at how the Ravens handle free agency, and I think the Ravens are just as well run as any organization in football,
Hmm.
and they just sit back. They let all the other teams spend a ton of money. They rack up comp picks so that they have 10, 11 picks every year. Then if you hit on 4 of them, you're in good shape, right? And so they draft well, they develop, they let the guys walk who they're not going to pay. Like we're Brandon Stevens now went to the Jets.
And
Um,
the Raven fans were happy that happened. They were
and the
clapping.
Ravens fans are happy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like that's the model to me is like how they operate. But it's you don't get there overnight. That's the problem, and you have to draft really well, right? Like that, and that's the other trick. That's hard. So not everyone can do it, but I know we get caught up every year in free agency, but most of these guys, Joe, are going to be cut in 2 years, right? And
No, I know.
so it's not like the long term answers are in free agency for the most part. And if they are, if you're a team that's ready to win, you can find some people to help you put over the top, maybe in free agency. But where the Jets are, they're not getting answers at these positions right now. They need bodies, and I think that's what you're going to see. They're going to be signing in the next couple of weeks. Is just guys to and then you hope that some of them hit. Like there's been guys that have worked out that I thought DJ Reed was a good signing a few years ago. I didn't know much about DJ Reed when they signed him, and he worked out really well. So you have to hope some of these guys hit for the Jets.
One more quick question. Let me ask you this question. This is the question of the year. How
Uh
did that stiff Javon Kinlaw get $45 million and 30
Joe, it's
guaranteed?
fun. Joe,
That's one of the great
that's one of the
mysteries in the
things I
history of.
first opened up with. How he
I,
was
to me,
stunned.
I was so floored by that. I said, I must be in a bizarro world. There's no way in the world that guy. I wouldn't even give him the league minimum. The league minimum, I wouldn't give him. How did he get that? I want his agent, man. How in the world did he do that, Cos? Help me with
Hey,
what?
it only takes one team to like you, Joe. Right?
Oh
And
my God! I mean,
Adam
the Commanders
Peters
are a good team. I mean, why would they? Oh my
Adam
God!
Peters was there when it was in San Francisco when they drafted him. So they must have saw something, but I don't know what they saw.
I mean, bring your
Hey,
buddy
Kaz.
Clemens with. He's basically
Yeah.
Clemens. Clemens is him 2.0. I mean,
Hey, Kaz. What were you more stunned by, that contract or Brian Schottenheimer getting hired by the Dallas? I'm going old school here, Kaz, on you.
Yeah. Look, the shoddy
Uh,
thing, I heard that I heard that pretty quickly from somebody, and I couldn't believe that. Like someone, I asked somebody in the league that would know to predict the coach hires right at one point, and they predicted Schottenheimer for Dallas. I'm like, what? And they were like, trust me. And sure enough, that was Jerry's plan. Yeah, no, I mean, look, I'll say this, Pete. Shoddy is a really good guy, and I'm happy for him. And I do think, in retrospect, he was a better offensive coordinator than I gave him credit for, because since he's been gone, it's been one tough offensive coordinator after another for the Jets. I feel like, other than 1 year of Chan Gailey that worked out pretty well. So but yeah, that was stunning as well, Pete.
Hey, Cos, we loved him except for that goal, first and goal from the 1 yard line in Pittsburgh in this
Pittsburgh.
championship game. I thought he was great. I mean, what he did,
I do think 2011 got people were down on him. The 64 passes against the Giants or whatever he had on Christmas Eve didn't help him.
oh, the
But
Victor Cruz game.
yes.
Please, I don't want to talk
Hey,
about it.
hey, Kaz, do you think Hackett, Dable, and Aaron Rodgers are going to like each other over the Giants?
Kaz,
uh,
where do you think Rodgers is going?
man, I predicting Aaron Rodgers moves are tough.
Whoever will take him.
I still think Pittsburgh probably. I'm
Hmm.
curious if Minnesota has any interest at all.
Right.
Because I think if Minnesota had interest, that's where he'd run to. But I don't know what their plan is around JJ McCarthy, and that's pretty gutsy. If you bring Rodgers in, you might be messing up that you might be messing with McCarthy's timeline somewhat. So Pittsburgh still feels like the one to me, but I'm fascinated to see where he goes. He's a hard guy to predict, Pete.
Yeah,
Kaz,
I
can you
can't.
imagine if Rodgers is the guy that gets Tomlin fired?
Well, Rodgers, George Pickens, and DK Metcalf would be an interesting group to manage.
And
That's a good
Lazard.
point. All right.
maybe Cobby will come out of retirement.
Kaz, I would never have thought we would have gotten some comp picks for this year's free agency class that we're losing. I just can't. I know Reed was going to get big
Yeah,
money, but I mean, to me,
Moses.
Moses got a big deal too.
Yeah, I was stunned at Moses. I was stunned at 3 years for Moses.
Right.
I thought he was on a 1 year. He's going to be on a 1 year deal mode at this point at 34 years old and dealing with injuries. But clearly, Vrabel's throwing money around up there in New England.
And
Well, they
speaking
got
of
it.
speaking of such, hey, Cos, what do you think of New England right now?
I still think they got a lot of work to do. They had a lot of holes in their roster, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. That they're testing my theory of that you can't really solve problems in free agency. It might work, might give them a little boost short term. I don't think this is going to help long term. The key for them is how Drake May develops, and they need to. I think they still, they need to surround him with some weapons up there. So we'll see what they do there. But right now, they're just throwing around money. It doesn't usually work.
Well, Kaz, to that question and to that point, and then we'll get to the other hands. June and I and we already have Jeff fans predicting that we're going to be 0-2 against New England. I'm sorry. I can't go down that route yet.
Well,
Don't tell me to a division opponent that we
yeah.
can't beat in New England right now. I'm
It's
sorry.
also
I'm not
March.
there.
It's also March. We got
Right.
to. There's not a game for 6 months. We got to see what the teams look like. There's a long way to go before we see what the teams look like.
Well, Kaz, I could tell you this. I don't think the game in London this year will be against Pittsburgh. as the Jets' home game because I think Pittsburgh plays in Ireland. Am I right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and if Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh, that's going to be a prime time game here.
Yes. Yeah, that might be. I mean, I don't think the Jets are going to have many prime.
Opening
I don't
day.
think the Jets are going to have many primetime games this year. So
Two, maybe two to tops.
Is
Have
it
the
going to
Jets
be
moved on from Lazard yet? Has that happened
no?
yet?
no, but I think it's
Cos
going to happen.
thinks
I think
today.
it'll happen today.
Got it.
All right, Tom, and then Benny. Tom, go ahead.
Morning, Cos. Thank you for gracing your presence here with us. I always appreciate the reporters, and I mean that
Thanks.
100%. You guys have a tough job, and I give you credit. Listen to the fan all the years with the spots you do on there because you get hit hard and you more than stand your ground,
Just by
especially by
Joe
Joe's
B.
friend Beningo. Yep,
Yes.
especially there. So I do got a question because I am seeing some people praising how the Jets are operating so far this free agency because you've been through the beat reporter for a very long time. So how would you compare the start with the new regime with Moj compared to our past GMs over the
Uh,
past decade plus?
yeah. I mean, look, this is the way I would approach free agency personally. I don't think. I do not think throwing around money in free agency is the way to win long term. Look, the one that stands out is McCagnon the first year, and they did spend a lot of money, and they did win 10 games that year. It worked for a year, and then the bottom fell out. And I do think they had short term gain, but it caused long term pain for them because they held on then for the next year, and it really messed up the whole timeline there. And like the biggest thing is they didn't make the freaking playoffs. They won 10 games, they didn't make the playoffs. So if you had made the playoffs that year, it would have been a success. But yeah, I get it. Everyone wants them to make moves and everything, and so, but I think you have to let the plan. You got to give them the benefit of the doubt and see how it plays out. And I'm not one to give them, a grade on free agency 2 days into the off season here. So I want to see what they do. And I don't. There's no one that's signed where I was like, you know what, that's a killer. The Jets didn't sign him. There was some where I'm like, huh, I wonder why they didn't. Some of the wide receiver contracts I've seen that are low, I'm like, I wonder why they didn't sign him or him. But you don't know what their evaluations are. So I kind of given them the benefit of the doubt, and let's see how it unfolds here and what the team looks like, when they're on the field. I guess in May for OTAs.
All right, I appreciate that. That's exactly what I was looking for an answer from a comparison. So
Yep.
I'm good on that, cause because I know others got other questions and a lot of others. I thought of the host have great as always. That's why we say great minds think alike here and appreciate and respect one another. So
Thank you.
thank.
Tom, thanks. Appreciate you, man. Benny, go ahead.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? So,
Hey, Benny.
real quick, this is just my 2 cents. I mean, listen, we're not going to be great this year. Like, we have so many holes. There isn't a lot of depth. You mentioned it along the defensive line, and I do think our strength is probably our running back room and probably our offensive line because we're bringing back 4 out of the 5. Um, but when I look at this offense, I think it's just so like pathetic. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no real talent outside of, I guess you could say, Brees, who I think is slightly overrated amongst the fan base, and Garrett, who I think Garrett's great. He's my favorite player, but
Yeah.
maybe Garrett's even slightly overrated amongst the fans. You know what I'm saying? And and again, there's no right answer, but I love a guy for this team, like a guy like Tyler Warren. You know what I'm saying? I know
Yeah.
it's a tight end, and people don't love the idea of tight end at 7, but I think like he's a willing blocker. He does everything he needs to do in that aspect of the game, and he's improved as a pass catcher every year at Penn State. And I feel like and obviously we right now our tight end one is Ruckert, and
Yeah.
even at wide receiver we don't really have much. And you mentioned it, Tim Patrick might be our that signing. So I
Yep.
think a guy like Tyler Warren makes a lot of sense for not just this year with Justin Fields, but moving forward with his progression. I think that's a piece that it fills a need now and he could stick around for a long time. I just want your thoughts on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I like Warren. I talked to him at the combine, wrote him out at the combine. Yeah. Uh, I think he's definitely worth a consideration at number 7 for sure. I'm not scared off by the tight end thing there. I mean, look at what Bowers has done. I know he went lower than 7, but he was huge for the Raiders. I don't think Warren can duplicate that production, But I do think it offsets the problem at wide receiver a little bit if you have a really strong tight end. And like what I talked about before with the question about like how Fields influences the draft, like you mentioned, Warren is known as a very good run blocker. So, does he help there if this is going to be a run heavy team with Justin Fields at quarterback? I think, the answer would be yes. So I'm with you on Warren. I definitely think he's a consideration there. I mean, we're still how far out from the draft? 6 weeks. So there's still a lot of time. We'll see where the Jets are roster wise when they get there. But yeah, Warren makes a lot of sense to me.
Thanks, Benny. Couple more, Kaz, and then I got a couple more for you.
Okay.
Hex, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kaz. Thank you for taking my question, my brother.
No problem.
So, to me, the Jets, they have a lot of third round picks. What third round pick is gonna elevate and become something? I heard that I didn't watch a lot of college, but I heard that Fields and Rutgers actually have a connection going back from college, and that Rutgers is very excited that the fact that he's connected, reunited with Fields again. If you had your choice, I think that the kid Corley, I think that he has something, man. I just think that the way the NFL business works is they just you have to be a standout, or you're not gonna get playtime as a rookie.
Yeah.
Which one of our third round picks is gonna break out to give
Oof.
us that type of relief? And if not Ruckert, what tight end would you select? I heard noise about maybe New Orleans, with their cap hell, that their young tight end.
They just signed Juwan.
They just signed him.
What's
Yeah.
his name?
Did they
Yeah.
resign
Yeah.
him? Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yes.
The
so he's
way
gone. So he's
they're
out of the
they're
picture.
it actually helps their cap situation to sign their players, right? Because they can knock their cap numbers down by re-signing them. So you're gonna see them re-signing players to knock the cap down.
So, Kaz, real quick, would that help then if Conklin resigns because he has a $6 million void year?
Good
Does that
question on the void
I don't
year. I don't know how the void. I'd have to check how the void year works, PD. That's a good question for Jason over at OTC.
yes. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know with the void years. There's probably not the same thing, but I would have to check on that. But in terms of the third round picks, I think it's a big year for Rucker. I think he knows that going in. I talked to some people last year that toward the end of the last season that he knew that this is really going to be, kind of a make it or break it year for him, and he's going to be a little more. I think he's going to have a bigger role, right? Especially if Conklin's not back. So he's potential. Corley's interesting. I think there was a lot of the coaches I talked to still believed in Corley last year. They were just, it takes time sometimes. I think, if I'm going back in history here, but Demario Davis was a third round pick of the Jets in 2012, and Demario didn't play as a rookie. That was Bart Scott was still there. And Demario was just mainly special teams his rookie year, and then Demario now has become an incredible player for the Saints. So sometimes it takes a little time. So I don't know if Corley's going to break out this year, but I'm not giving up on Corley either. I think.
Cause how much of it was it Corley and the other part of he got 6 targets last year, 6.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
how
but how
much of
many?
this was just Aaron just being like, I'm not
Nah,
even looking your way?
no, I don't think it was that because he didn't play that much. So it's not like he was on the field all the time and he got 6 targets. The guy was inactive, right?
My biggest thing on him though is even with Rodgers, we needed scrimmage plays like lessening time, and he was a scrimmage guy. Like how is he not ready to catch balls behind and at the line of scrimmage? Anybody could do that.
I don't know about anybody in the NFL. Like it's you have to there's a lot to it. You got to know the play. You got to know if he's changing. If Rodgers is changing plays, is he able to do that? Does he know all the checks? Does he know the adjustments? That he has to make. Like I think you saw, he's a young, immature player. Like the most memorable moment of the year is him dropping the ball at the goal line, which was as boneheaded a play as you could make. So others make it, but that was a bad one. So I just don't think he was ready, and he's coming from a smaller school. I think it was a big adjustment for him. So we'll see what he could do.
Those
Hey,
change of
Kaz.
plays, cause they were called delay of games. That was that play call.
Hey, Kaz. See, everybody remembers him dropping the ball, right? But what I remember is him is breaking tackles, getting to that end zone. And like we could have done that so many times with him, and I just think that he was so underused, and I think he's a weapon. I mean, from college, he breaks tackles. He can fill that middle at least and do something this year. What about Gibson? You think Gibson is almost done? He's out of options.
I hate to say he's out of options, but yeah, I just haven't seen a lot from Gibson. And he's a guy, like I just said, Corley wasn't on the field. Gibson's been on the field, and it hasn't been happening with him. And look, Gibson's a undrafted free agent. He's a nice story, but again, the chances are he's not going to. Some of the undrafted free agents hit, but usually the teams are right about undrafted free agents, and they're undrafted for a reason. I think he could be a returner in the league. I'm not sure he's ever going to be a solid wide receiver, though.
Kaz, when Corley dropped that, did you put your hand on your head and just shake your head?
I don't remember my reaction to that one, Pete, but I was, yeah, that one was rough.
All right, Kaz, we're
Dan,
gonna get to somebody from June. You got something before
no,
the
no, no,
next
no.
hand?
It's Dan,
Yeah,
Medici,
yeah,
and
yeah. I
Justin.
was gonna say Dan's from out in Mountain Standard Time. Jeff fan out west. Dan, good
Oh,
morning. How you doing?
Hey guys, we're actually Pacific time now since we don't change our clocks.
Oh, okay. Good,
Really?
good.
Yeah, we stay
I
on
just
standard time. I actually had one question. I don't know if it's asked, but Brian,
yep.
how did nobody know we had picked 73
Yeah,
and thought it was 92?
yeah. Great question. Um, I mean, the NFL puts out the draft order. Like they usually send it out at the end of the season. They usually send one right at the end of the season. I and then they update it after the playoffs, I think. And the NFL had it wrong. So I do not know how that happened. I actually, you reminded me. I meant to look into that this week. Of how the heck that happened. And I had heard, when the trade went down over the weekend, that there was confusion about what pick it was because both teams thought it was 92 at first, and then they were like they had to sort it out. So I have no idea how it happened. I'll check that. I'll tweet it out if I find out the answer of where that went wrong clerically. But I heard beat writers were getting blamed. We do not figure out draft order. Like there's no like that's not something I do trust the NFL to tell me the right draft picks for the Jets, and it's usually something I just check in on the end of the season. And I don't think I had even looked at what number they were in the third round at that point. But yeah, that was a crazy story. Good for the Jets. Maybe the karma's changing.
Yeah, maybe, but so when the trade is made, paperwork is sent into the league,
Yeah.
and the 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 picks were never
Well,
made public.
no, they were never made public at the time, so you don't
Uh,
know, which pick it is, and obviously you don't know the numbers at that point of where it is. But yeah, no, it's not. It's sent into the league, but it's not like I have access to that. Now, yes, if I
sure.
could get a source to tell me that
Yeah.
stuff, but and like when if they're trading a little more like if it was first round picks, people probably would have been like, which pick is it and stuff. I don't think with the third round pick, people were really focused on what pick it was. And then obviously you don't know the numbers until the end of the season.
Yeah, it's funny with the Jets, they just assume it's the better pick we traded away.
Yeah, well, yep. Yes.
Okay, thanks,
Yep.
Brian.
Dan, thanks
Thanks,
for coming
Petey.
up. Yep. Have a good day, man. Next up is Medic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thanks, guys, for coming
Yep.
in and answering our questions. I got a couple questions here. Do you think for bringing Fields in, do you think this is a Tyrod's team until it's not, or is there a competition in camp? And as far as our first pick overall, do you think we're going to go line, offense, defense?
So this is Justin Fields' job. I mean, they gave him $30 million guaranteed. So there's no way Woody Johnson is cutting a check for that amount of money and saying, "Oh yeah, go ahead and sit on the bench." That being said, from what I've seen of Aaron Glenn so far, I'm pretty sure he's going to say it's a competition. He seems to be that kind of coach that likes to talk about competition. But the money tells you that Fields is the starting quarterback. You're not paying. It's a bargain for a starter. It's not a bargain for a backup. In terms of the pick, it's way too early to say what they're doing, but I think tight end that we talked about, Tyler Warren. I think defensive line is definitely a consideration. And depending on what happens with tackle and where the tackles fall on the board, I think that's a consideration too for that pick.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Justin and Graham.
Couple more, Pete. Then I got to run.
No problem, Cos.
Yep.
Hey, what's up, Kaz? How you doing? It's Justin here.
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. Just wanted to ask a couple questions about some injured Jets. We got Jermaine Johnson. Hopefully, you got some news that he's getting better, and also C.J. Mosley, man. I know he's can be some lot of dead money, and he got guaranteed contracts. But is he any news on that guy with his neck?
I haven't heard anything on Mosley, but like I said before, I think with them paying Sherwood that they did, I don't think Mosley's going to be back. I think they're probably waiting on him to see if he wants to retire. I do think they would. He's been a good Jet. He's obviously had a good NFL career. They're going to be respectful of that and wait for him to make a decision. There's really no reason they have to do anything right now, contract wise. Jermaine, I saw Jermaine at the Super Bowl, which I guess is like a month ago now, and Jermaine was ready to go. Told me he's ready to. We'll see if they hold him back at all in OTAs, but Jermaine joked to me that he wished he could go to what is it? Is it the XFL now? Is the spring league? He was saying, "I wish I could go to their practices. I just want to get on the field." And so he's chomping at the bit. So he says he's ready. They might be cautious with him. Honestly, defensive linemen don't do a heck of a lot in the spring. So I think they'll probably hold him back a little bit. But it sounds like he'll be full go when training camp gets here.
Cool. Thanks for answering that. Yeah, just worried about that Achilles with that push off and having the draft coming up with us being short with linebackers as it is.
Yeah.
Having that edge and linebacker being in the draft.
Yeah, I think you can count on him for the season. I'm not sure how much he'll be out there this spring, but I think he'll be good for the season.
Kaz, a quick one from me. Thanks.
Thanks, Kaz.
Yep.
Thanks, Justin. Kaz, quick one from me, real quick. Do you think they give him the 5th-year option or no?
Good question.
This is one of my rapid fires, Kaz, as I usually do at the end.
I do, Pete. I do think they'll give him a 5th-year option.
Yeah, because I saw Over the Cap actually lowered his cap. I mean, not his cap. It went from like 14 something to like 13.4 because of his playing time. I guess the injury was I don't know exactly how that works, but it was lowered a little bit. So yeah, I would pick it up too, Kaz, but a lot of people are saying that they may not, but you think they will.
Yeah, I think they will. I think he's shown enough that you pick it up.
All right, Bri, can you stay on till 9:50? Can we get you out of here at 9:50?
Yeah.
All right, good. Ground and punt. Go ahead.
What's up, guys?
I'm good. Ground and punt, my favorite.
There we go. Just curious what you think like the contrast is going to be in terms of like style of coaching, accountability, specifically when you look at, especially when you look at the defensive backs. I mean, Reed and Sauce combined for 1 interception the whole entire season. The way, Brees just wasn't hitting the whole offense, just lacking attitude, not getting any push. Both lines not getting any penetration whatsoever. They seem to always lose the, if it was 4th and 1 on defense, they couldn't get the stop. If it was 4th and 1 on offense, they would lose 1 or 2 yards.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a stark contrast in coaching styles. I think Aaron Glenn is, you can kind of feel that already from him, from his public appearances. So, accountability, I'm not sure how much of what you're talking about is accountability versus just skill, on the line. And I can't think of how many interceptions were dropped. I remember the Sauce one in London he dropped in the end zone, but I'm not sure how many others we maybe should have had. but I think Aaron Glenn is coming in, and that's why he was hired. I mean, like let's be honest, like Aaron Glenn wasn't hired because of his blitz package, right? He was hired to be the leader of the team and sort of instill something different in this team that I think ownership felt was lacking, and I know you guys felt was lacking from Saleh and the coaches last year and the last few years. So I think you guys will like Aaron Glenn in terms of his messaging, and you could tell already, like he didn't want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, because he was like, I want to talk about Quinn Williams. So I think he's going to play well, messaging wise. But the accountability thing is tough. It's like they're I kind of feel like this with the accountability thing. We like a lot of us played high school football, right? And I think we all go back to like that, or like high school coaches, or maybe like college coaches. You see, they're grown men, so it's a little bit different. And the accountability thing can be tricky. Like, do you find them? Do is yelling at them the answer? So I'm curious to see how he approaches it. Saleh was a guy who did not believe in going down that road a lot. I don't think I ever saw them run sprints like for messing up in practice, stuff like that. So I think that'll be different. I think Glenn will be a lot harder on them.
Hey, cuz a lot of fans talk about Sauce's inability to like cover like man, especially like with getting his head turned around, just seemed to be running lost a lot. When he's in man coverage, what any like anything like that at all? Like talked about like how to. He's gonna be in man a lot more in
Yeah,
this
I haven't heard
defense.
that, but like, look, we're really early on in terms of like what there's we haven't talked, we've barely talked to Aaron Glenn, and I think it'll have to be more time before we get into that stuff, and see what he says. I think I asked him a Sauce question at the introductory press conference. He didn't say much, so I think we'll learn more about his feelings on these players and what they need to do during the spring, and then definitely in the summer more.
Buckeye,
Hey,
go ahead.
piggybacking
Wait,
off of that real quick. What do you think of our
Hex. I
safeties?
gotta get to the hands and then get Brian out of here. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It's all right. Buckeye, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, two for me. One, running back draft, really heavy. Third, fourth round, do you see us going in there? And then the other one is off topic, not off season, but maybe during season. I don't know if the necessity for a high paid backup like Tyrod Taylor. So if there's injuries in the NFL, do you think a Tyrod Taylor could be a trade piece during the season? Because I don't understand a high price to back up Justin Fields at this point. So just thoughts on those two running backs and Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
think
good
running back's
question.
low on their list. I do, Brees obviously is going to be a decision to be made here next year on Brees. So maybe they take one, but I mean, you took two last year. I don't feel like that's going to be high on their list of priorities. And then in terms of Tyrod, I don't see trade value for Tyrod. Honestly, I think there's enough guys out there like Tyrod that teams are they can find somebody if they have an injury or something to sign them during the season.
Thanks,
Benny, if you
guys.
could be really quick, because I got to get Kaz out. I got one for him as we close. Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. Do you think the Jets are going to be in the trade market at all in terms of like possibly trading for a wide receiver, trading for a tight end, or trading off pieces? You know what I'm saying? That
I don't think they're trading off pieces. I mean, look, I think they'll be shopping for trades. That's usually a good avenue to find some bargains because if somebody's looking to load somebody and you can get them cheaply, I think it's usually surprising to see what guys get traded for, right? And it's usually because they have a big contract. So I think that's a possibility. If there's something out there, the problem sometimes with the tradable players is they're older, and the Jets are clearly trying to get younger. So but I don't think they're going to be trading off their players now.
All right, Kaz, as I get you out of here, thanks a lot, man.
Yep.
Appreciate you. And so do you? Last question from me, Kaz. Do you see the Jets staying with Michael Clemens for $3 and something million? I know they need bodies, Kaz, but give me your thoughts on that. Sorry for the tough
Look,
one, but
I have no idea what the evaluation is of Michael Clemens from this coaching staff, but yeah, I think they stay with him, Pete, because there's too many holes on the roster. He is a serviceable player that played too much last year, right?
correct.
He ended up playing too much because of Hassan Reddick and then Jermaine going down. So if he is your fourth defensive end, I think he's fine. And yeah, his money went up a little bit, but $3.3 million is nothing with what we're talking about right now in the NFL. Like Javon Kinlaw is $15 million to your point earlier. So
Yes.
I don't think I think he's a serviceable player. I would not get rid of him. I just would pray that he's not going to have to play as much as he did last year.
Thanks, Cos. Thanks for joining. Have a great day. We'll
All
talk
right,
to you
guys.
down the road.
Thanks. Hang in there.
Thanks, man.
We'll be fine, Cos. Thanks. All right, Mark, June.
He's great. Look, we covered a lot of stuff. I hope that we can bury the Genty or whatever the RB at 7. Can we stop with that foolishness? And
should I now change the space to featuring Mark Torres? Because
Oh,
I know you have
Jesus.
some. Well, I
You
know
need
you
to.
have some things, Mark. So
Me
I mean,
too.
I want to hear your thoughts. Well, Mark, it's not
Look,
funny. I mean,
I have to laugh because I'm happy that the Jets are not buyers right now. Like they got a quarterback because they had to, and then whatever 2 players, but they don't need to be splashy. Listen, we knew this free agent class wasn't going to be terrific, so I'm fine with them going this route in terms of player acquisition and trying to build through the draft. But getting this quarterback, and then I got to see the plan because now we got folks trying to foist Milrow on the Jets, and I'm like, well, wait a second, like what are they doing? What like this doesn't make any sense to me, and so I'm very curious to see. We didn't ask him if they're going to take a quarterback later in the draft and who he thinks might be. But I'd be shocked if they go with another mobile quarterback. You know what I mean? Anyway, Pete, go ahead.
would you consider Tyrod a mobile quarterback?
At this stage of his career, no, it's not. I think Tyrod's a better passer I think he sees the field better than Fields.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, listen, you bring Tyrod Taylor in because he can run your offense. I think he's a better quarterback than Fields. I think the problem is durability with
Mm-hmm.
Tyrod Taylor. So they had to get somebody. We've been saying it all offseason. They had to get somebody.
Yep. All right, Curtis, you had your hand up. What's up?
What's up, Kurt?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? That was good stuff for Koch. You know, I let the man talk. That was good stuff. I hear a lot of people talk about we traded down. See, here's the nightmare scenario of this offseason. The way everything's played out now, there is nobody that's going to want to go up to 7. It's either 1 or 2 or bust,
Mm-hmm.
and and it's just not happening. So, we're just gonna have to. We gotta be realistic. What's gonna happen this year, guys? I'm not saying we're gonna be bottom of the barrel, but we're not gonna be a totally complete team. There's that Levi guy. I would like to get him, but we'll see how that goes down. And I really want Wills. If we get Jedrick Wills,
Mm-hmm.
then the line is
Mm-hmm.
complete, and we can move to other spaces.
Mm-hmm.
If we do not get a resolution for the tackle in the next week or so,
You have to.
I can guarantee you
Yes.
you're going to draft the tackle,
Yes.
and that's just the bottom line.
So
That's just
if
that's the bottom line.
Curtis, if we did get Jedrick, would you want him for more than 1 year? Maybe try a 2-year deal,
Yeah,
or just
that's fine. I do multiple years because
what is he about?
I don't.
26, 27?
He's the same age. Wills is off the Becton draft, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but Becton came out young.
I thought Wills came out young too. I don't remember the age. I don't remember.
I forget. Go ahead.
We put him back in his natural right tackle space because that's what he was in college, and the Browns put him to left for some reason. So that's one of the key moves. All the other stuff of us being pat, not signing nobody, I'm not really aggravated about because there's nobody worth signing.
Was Wills hurt?
Hey,
Why
Kurt,
is there no
hey,
market
Kurt,
there?
that's me too.
Was
I
Wills
don't
That's me
hurt?
know.
too. Like, it's
You
real.
there, June?
That's the key thing right there. If he's signed and we don't have to, absolutely, Kurt, I'm with you on that. Very important.
There's got to be a reason Wills is still out there.
Yeah, because he stunk. I'm looking at his stats through PFF. His overalls at like 52.9.
Mark, who's
Pass
worse,
blocking.
Mark, who's
Yeah,
worse,
go ahead.
Wills or Justin Fields?
Oh Jesus. Uh
Sorry,
I
Mark.
mean, listen, maybe what Curtis is saying about the fact that he's really a right tackle, not a left, so maybe you could put that modifier on it. But I'm just
Hmm.
looking at what PFF had him list. People get so mad when I give a PFF. Like, come on, man. Look, last year his overall PFF was 52.9, his pass blocking was 63.6, and run blocking was 51.6. So maybe moving him to right will help him out. But it's more that the Jets need a warm body there with pulse than they need. Like, I don't know how much he helps. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
the you have to open hide and can also get something out of Carter Ward, and I've already given up on that extension.
I don't
I
think
know
they're going
people
to
don't
do
want
it,
to hear
Mark.
this. I know people don't want to hear this. You can put AVT at right tackle and slide Titman over to guard,
That's
and
what I
then you
said
draft
He's gonna
and then
get
yesterday.
you
hurt.
draft a
I think
center.
he's
You
gonna
can
get
do
hurt.
this stuff.
Uh,
That's the problem. That's what got him hurt, man. His body cannot take being a tackle,
I don't
and
agree
it's
with that.
Of
I
course not. But you're going to sabotage his career. Let the man play right guard and then figure something. I don't like the idea of kicking him out because then you could create two holes where you only had one.
Dan, are you still up here? Dan
Yeah,
Moscow?
I'm up
Hey,
here. I was
Dan,
just
Dan, real quick. No, it's you're always commenting. I'm wondering if you're yelling in your comments or if you're calm like this because you do comment a lot. I appreciate that.
no, I'm not yelling. I don't. There's never in all caps. Uh, like Joe. Joe's the king of all caps. But I was looking up. Jedrick Wills um, always seems to either get nicked up and miss 3 or 4 games a year, or the last 2 years, I guess he had knee surgery a couple of years ago, and then this year he pulled himself, or last season he pulled himself out of a game because he hyperextended the same knee. So it's the same knee twice. It's a big man. I don't know if you sign that guy for 2 years. Maybe 1 year cheap deal and see if he can stay healthy. But
What with like incentives, like a 1 year $8 million deal, 12 million, something like Morgan or like a Morgan Moses, like a seven million for the year.
yeah, but like a 1 year, show me you can stay healthy. Kind of like what the Eagles did with Becton.
That's fair.
Wait. How about a what's the name deal? A Tyron Smith deal. You get paid by the games you play.
I love that. I love those deals. If I'm a GM, wouldn't
Yeah,
you?
Oh, I
yeah,
got a bone to pick
absolutely.
with Dan Moscow. You're the extend Brees Hall
Oh,
guy.
Yeah,
oh.
So am I.
I
Well,
do.
Petey, you
You know
extend
what?
We
everybody.
know you, PD.
Petey,
Yeah,
you extend
exactly. We
everybody.
not.
You're extending.
No,
I
We not talking about you,
let's hear
Pete.
I
Dan. Dan doesn't. Let me hear him.
no, yeah, it's because my wife's at our house in Hawaii, so I could actually speak without her yelling at me.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah,
Uh oh,
I'm leaving on
Dan.
Friday,
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, to go to
but
Hawaii.
yeah, my wife's from Hawaii, so we have a condo there.
Good for you,
Bought
man.
it bought it years ago. Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't mind extending Brees Hall. I don't think his price would be that high. If he has a great year in a running scheme this year, his price is going to go up. He's only what 23
Oof.
years old.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
but
I,
they're.
I'll, I'll
Go ahead.
I'll keep a running back. I don't mind a running back up to 26, 27 years old, especially
But
especially
Dan,
one that's good.
let me ask you a question. How much would you pay him?
Based on right now where the market is, his potential, his age. I don't know. Do a 3 year, like the 10 million a year.
I'm just going to say this: you only have to average 59 yards a game to get to 1,000 in a 17 game
And
season,
he's
and he's
never
never
gotten
done it yet.
1,000.
Okay,
Yep.
well, if our coaching staff a couple of years ago could do math, he would have. But look,
Mm.
our scheme has he is not a run up the middle guy. He's a wide
No,
zone
he's not.
running back. Now you've got Allen who could be an A B gap up the middle runner. and get Brees on the outside zone, plus also use him as a pass catcher. I mean, Justin Fields is not going to go, Peyton Manning for progressions. He's going to be
Now,
one. He's going to look 1-2 and run or dump it down. And I don't think you get rid of good young
Here's the
players.
thing, though, Dan. Right? We paid the linebackers. We paid a nickel corner. Running back
Yeah.
is the most easy position in a draft. It is
to
simple to
replace,
replace. I don't know why in God's green earth we would pay a running back. We haven't even run like I think last year was a run the treads off of Brees. Like I know people don't like that term, but like if there's ever a time, so if Brees is up for contract and he's up for contract now, I would run the treads off of him this year.
not to
Okay, you
mention,
could do
Dan,
that. Run the treads off of them, and then franchise them and franchise them since if the price is staying low. I mean, I love this running back draft. Yeah.
Dan, let me ask you a question because I mean, I'm thinking if you're a defense and you know he's coming in and you see Brees in the backfield, you already know what's coming. It's
Yeah,
gonna
but
be some type of outside.
June, I want
Like
to
that's not good.
June. What I was going to say, Dan just made me think of something. Now, if the Jets are lacking weapons and quotes, you could always put
Hmm.
Braylon Allen and Brees in the backfield and then just motion Brees out. And he's
Yeah.
another Brees is deadly as a receiver.
But Petey,
He
are
But
you
is.
in favor of
but he
drafting
also
a running
drops a
back?
lot of passes.
They did
What
that.
June and Buckeye
I
and
was at the
Dan? There's three people again, Buckeye.
Yeah, I was at the Tennessee game last year, and they ran like a pony formation with Allen and Brees in the backfield, moving them around, and it was actually very effective. I mean,
Yes.
I would love it.
That was the
But
flick pass to Braylon Allen, Dan.
huh?
Do you recall that? The flick pass that he scored on that touchdown from
Yeah,
Rodgers. The little,
that was, and then they also Brees caught one in the end zone,
yep.
diving catch. I mean, if you look at our receiver core, we need running backs that could catch, and that's why I want. That's why I want to draft Warren, maybe Higgins in the second round, and then a defensive lineman in the third.
What about
And
offensive line, Dan?
hey, I thought we're getting Jedrick Wills on a 1-year deal.
I hope so.
you know,
I sure hope so.
Warren makes sense to me because he's going to help us in the run game with it. He's a plus blocker, and he also can catch. He can create separation. He's a beast run after catch. I don't know. I mean, every year we don't have a spot for offensive linemen. Are we going to take one in the first round every year? AVT, let's say
I'm
he's
with you.
gone next year. We go draft a guard in the
I'm
first
with you.
round. I mean,
We got to start hitting that. Like the whole thing is PTSD of this fan base has lost confidence, rightfully so. That like to get someone who plays football for us, it has to come in the first 2 rounds. If that doesn't change, then nothing's changed. Like that's the first thing that has to happen is we've got to have starters on a football field that are hit in the mid rounds. Like every team in the NFL does that.
Spielman, when I look back, and I didn't realize this, he was the de facto GM before he was named GM. And I looked at all these drafts while he was there. And yeah, the first rounds weren't always great, but he did hit on mid-round picks.
Yep. That's what Lynch did with San Francisco. He's terrible in the first 2 rounds.
Dan, on Spielman, his quarterbacks, not great. Like the track record on
No,
quarterbacks.
Christian Ponder has a hot wife, but he's not a good quarterback.
Are you referring to Justin Fields too, Mark?
I mean, look, Dan's seeing it. Dan and I are seeing it very similarly because the thing is, if you get Warren at 7, yeah, I mean, listen, Fields needs a Fryermuth in this offense if you're going to get anything out of it. But also, a Warren pick at 7 doesn't. It's not you're getting it just for him. Like he's the guy that when you actually play the real kind of offense you want to play, he's going to fit that too. And the Jets, and when you get a young quarterback, the real young quarterback who's the leader of the team, what does every young quarterback need? If not, I guess Hex is putting stuff in the microwave. Um, what, what do you need? You need a reliable target over the middle of the field. That's Warren. So, I mean, it's a good answer for today. It's a good answer down the road. Are there other holes they can fill? Like if they take Graham at 7, will I cry? No. If they take T-Mac at 7, will I cry? No. Like they do have holes to fill, but I feel like tight end. It's one of the skill positions are depleted right now. Way more depleted than even the defense. It's certainly not the running back room. So that's where I don't know how they pass on a tight end at 7.
Now, you know what? Tight end, definitely. You definitely have to draft a tight end. But my thing is, it's a deep tight end draft. So you don't have to go crazy in the first round.
Yeah, but
You don't
June,
have.
if you look at, and maybe somebody knows more than I do, but when I look at the tight ends in this draft, you've got the guys that are in line tight ends almost purely, and then you have the big slots. And Warren to me is the only one that I look at as a hybrid. He could play in line and block in 12 personnel. He can go big slot, and the others can't. I'm just looking for someone who can help with the total offense, not just one aspect of the offense. We're gonna have, Justin Fields, unless Pittsburgh cured him, he's gonna go like one, maybe two, and then he's gonna take off or dump it. I mean, or he goes off script, runs
Bro,
around,
this
finds a
this
guy.
just looks. Excuse me. This just looks so obvious to me, though. I don't see what's so hard to look. If you're looking at it from the outside in, it's simple. Detroit was one of the top rushing offenses in the league the last couple of years. That's what the Jets want to do. They got Fields. Fields runs the ball like a running back. He's like, if he was to switch to running back, I think he'd be like top 5 in the league. Like the guy just knows how to cut angles. He knows when to rush. He knows where to go. He knows how to help with receivers getting in the way and blocking for him. Like the guy is legit running the ball. We're gonna run the ball. He has comfort zones with people that have already played with him, Ruckert and Wilson. He's gonna be looking for Wilson. He's gonna be looking for Ruckert. Both of those guys are gonna eat. If not, they're just
Wilson,
gonna run the ball.
Texican, I can't get on board with Jeremy Ruckert. He stinks. I'm not going to depend on Justin Fields improving Jeremy Ruckert. I'm
No, but
sorry.
what I'm saying is you guys are talking about drafting a top tight end or what it like you guys are
Yeah.
saying it's one
I,
read and
I just
go.
need. I need a
It's
tackle.
one read and
Right. I
go.
need a tackle.
Well,
It's
I
one
don't.
read and go. So
But
he's gonna look
Texican,
at
I don't.
Wilson.
Yeah, but
Wilson's not there. He's gonna
all
run
right.
or
But
he's gonna
I
dump it
don't
off.
think. I don't think. Real quick, I'm going to close soon. I don't think Warren and Conklin are that together wouldn't be bad, honestly. Because can't Warren block? No, he's a good blocker, right? Am I right?
Warren's a very good blocker.
So yeah, you could put both of them on, and you could have Warren and Tyler Conklin. You'll have Garrett Wilson and
Conklin is not a good blocker.
no, correct. But when they,
Not at all.
but
He's
if they do
horrible.
re-sign Conklin, which Kaz said it's looking like they might, then you have at least Conklin can catch the ball. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? He's
I'd
not
rather
awful.
go with Conklin. I'd rather go with Conklin
I just
than a
can't
rookie
annoy. I just
that
can't.
hasn't caught an
I,
NFL yet.
I would say right now Tyler Warren's better than Jeremy Ruckert, and he hasn't played it down. I would put money
Oh,
on
by
that.
far,
Yeah,
by
I
far.
mean,
Buckeye.
so I mean, you guys all you guys criticize me for liking everybody. Shit, June, you love freaking Jeremy Ruckert and
Hey,
Buckeye too.
I
Like
do
Buckeye
not like
mentioned.
him, man. Go
Hey, like
ahead.
Buckeye mentioned
That's
before, right?
it.
Like Buckeye mentioned before. Like Buckeye mentioned, we need third rounders to hit, bro. Right? So I'm thinking, just drop back and also ground and punt and mention what's up with Sauce and man to man. I'm thinking if we solidify that freaking safety, like you guys said it yourself, we haven't prioritized safeties in years. If we get that rookie safety from Georgia, that 5 tool caliber player, led his team in tackles, it just and has speed all over the field. We can cover man to man, and then we have two legit safeties that can help out
So
when
Hex,
necessary over the top. You know what I mean? And just and then and
so,
then
so
and then
Hex,
after that,
you
we can
want to
just
take a safety in the
solidify the
first
offense
round?
and defensive line with the rest of the picks and just ground and
But June,
pound and
Yeah,
good D.
So Hex, you want to take a safety in the first
I
round?
want to drop back and get the safety when we can. I want that safety. I don't want no other safety. I want that safety. That safety. Get that safety along with this team, and we got speed on defense. And then you could just fill in the blanks after that. All the rest of the rounds, offense and the defensive line, just go berserk on that. But I think
but
after
what?
that would
But
be
heck,
legit.
what team would come up?
Right. You
I
like
don't
You
know.
had to
you
I'm
give
just
me,
talking
and
about
remember,
like maybe from
I
7 to
know,
15, 7 to
yeah, but
16, just
the thing
something.
is,
Just something.
heck, you remember the price for 7 is not cheap. So people are not gonna give you, okay, I'm gonna give you the whole house just for 7. You have to think about what
right.
team, what is the need is up there that will drop. The
yep.
only thing I could say is that the quarterback drops on 7, and
Yes.
they'll come up and be
Yes.
like, hey, I'll give you my whole house for him. That
Not
I
even that. Maybe
understand.
one pick back. Maybe one or two pick back. My
So what?
point
You're
is
going to do it for a
my point
fourth
is get
round
an
pick
extra
like
draft pick,
last
right?
year?
I want it. Yeah, right. Because one or two picks back is only going to get you a fourth or a
Right.
fifth rounder.
But how many don't we need so many bodies? So yeah, let's get an extra
Yeah,
draft pick and
yeah.
get that safety. Get that safety, and then y'all could do whatever the hell y'all want with the rest of the picks.
All
But
right.
I need
Well,
that
A
safety on
fourth,
this
a
fucking
fifth.
team this year,
well,
especially if they're gonna play man to man.
So, so you're going to take a safety in the top 10 then? Because if you're only going to move back two spots, you're going to be ninth, and you're going to take a
But
safety in ninth.
So what are you gonna do?
heck,
You gonna
but
take a
heck,
tight end? Now
listen,
y'all want
heck.
to take a tight end in the top
No, no,
10?
no,
here
Really?
comes
heck,
the
I
heck.
don't
screaming
want to take a tight
Live,
session.
end.
Here comes the
listen,
screaming
listen,
session. Go ahead.
live. Heck. But think about it. We need a box safety. We need a box safety. Are we gonna give top pick for a box safety?
Right.
You
That's
understand? You have to
true.
think about it. We got Cisco. He's a free safety. We need a box safety now. You want to give number top pick on the box safety? Think about that one. You understand? Can we
Oh,
can get those on the 5th rounder? Those are things that you have to put in
that's a fact.
perspective in your mind. Okay, we need a safety. What? Remember,
Y'all
what type of
thinking that we
safety?
could
And we
drop back? Y'all telling me
no, but
there's
I'm
nobody
saying,
that's gonna want to
but you
come up
saying
in the
safety.
draft.
But no,
That
I'm
there's
listening
no gonna
to
be. Y'all
heck. I'm
telling me
listening.
like y'all know
Heck,
that there's nobody gonna want to
heck,
come up in the draft.
heck,
Shit happens.
heck. I'm listening to what you're saying. You want a safety, the top safety. Is he a box safety? Because that's what we need right now. We got
Yes,
Cisco
he
as a
is.
free
Yes,
safety.
yes. Look him up. Five
So you're
caliber
gonna
kid,
give. All
Georgia.
right. So
Yes,
you're gonna
that's
get. No,
him. He's him. He's him, bro. He's
I
him,
know,
bro.
but he's a box safety. Are we gonna give a top pick on a box safety?
We need so
I'm
much
talking
shit. You
about
talk
Come
best
about a
on,
player
box.
man.
available. At that
I
point, it's best player available. It's best player available, and he would be the best player available.
He'd be better. He'd be better than
I
I'm
just
thinking
want you to
about
think
motherfucking
about
Lamar
heck,
that
Jackson.
one.
I
yo.
don't know what you guys are talking about.
I want you to think about
Yeah,
that one,
guys,
bro.
I want you to think about having a great day because I'm going to close the space. Mark, thank you. June, as always, thank
Mark,
you,
I'm
both
talking
of you.
about Malachi Starks. Look him up, Mark.
Mark knows who
He's
you're
the
talking
truth, bro.
about. All right,
He's
guys,
him.
I'm
I got it.
closing.
Thank you,
Have
Petey.
a great day. Appreciate you guys. Be well. Have a great day. Appreciate all the listeners. Thanks to Brian Costello, for joining. And you all have a good day. Ciao.
Tear it down, medic.
Box safety. Wow.